this month. Passenger numbers between this week are forecast to reach just 200,000 people, or just slightly under that, beating the previous weekly record of 182,000 passengers set during Gather Round in 2023. The number of arriving and departing domestic flights will increase from 1,013 in the week commencing March 24 to 1,107 flights this week. Gather Round also lines up with school holidays this year. Australians who believe they were unfairly sold add-on insurance before July 2019 are being urged to come forward. Also called junk insurance, it's often sold alongside another product. The Financial Complaints Authority, Emma Curtis, says there are a number of examples.
The types of products include CCI, Consumer Credit Insurance, Guaranteed Asset Protection Insurance or GAP insurance, tyre and rim insurance, and some extended warranty or mechanical breakdown insurance products.
Queensland's floodwaters are causing problems in SA. A flood watch and act issued for Inaminka, with the water expected to cause properties to be isolated. The town expected to be cut off within 2 days as roads flood. The water level at the Kalyamara waterhole, 10 kilometres upstream, in excess of 11.5 metres and rising rapidly. The Strzelecki track is currently closed to all vehicles except residents and those providing essential supplies and services. Turning to 5AA Sport.
Colours, custom design, any house, any style. Gliderol Garage Doors. Gliderol.com.au.
And here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Matty. Port Adelaide is set to be without forward Darcy Byrne-Jones for Sunday's gather-round clash against Hawthorn after he was offered a one-match ban for a bump on St Kilda's Ryan Burns. Meantime, more fines for vice-captain Zach Butters, meaning he's now close to totalling $50,000 worth of fines across his career. Let's get to soccer. Matilda star Mary Fowler is grateful for fans sticking solid by the team despite a lean run of form. A record 28,000 fans turned up in Newcastle to see the side beat South Korea 2-0. Fowler says they don't take the supporters for granted.
Sometimes with a few poor performances, you kind of feel like the momentum's dropping a bit, so it is nice that, we can come into this camp and string a few good performances in and feel like the crowd is still very much interested in it.
Meantime, in the English Premier League, Newcastle is easily taking care of Leicester, currently leading 3-0 with about 20 minutes to play. The win would keep the Magpies in the hunt for a Champions League berth for next season. Let's go to cricket. Batter Harry Brook has been appointed the new captain of England's men's white ball cricket teams. He takes over from Jos Buttler, who stepped down from the role following England's early exit from the ICC Champions Trophy. That was last month in Pakistan. And there was one game in the IPL overnight with the Royal Challengers Bengaluru holding on for a 12-run win against the Mumbai Indians. And that's the 5AA Sport.
5AA's forecast.
For your next conference, charity gala or any type of function, make it a superstar experience at Adelaide Entertainment Centre.
Partly cloudy 23 today, cloudy tomorrow 25. The sun returns for Gather Round 31 Thursday, 29 on Friday, and a sunny weekend to come. Right now it is 13. 5AA, always Adelaide.
G'day, Alan Gray here. Talking mechanic to mechanic, one of the toughest parts of our job would have to be tracking down the most reliable four-wheel drive parts. At Terrain Tamer, we have Australia's largest range of four-wheel drive parts, all designed, engineered and tested to outperform the original. Hey, righto, guys. Talk to one of Terrain Tamer's army of trained parts interpreters who all speak fluent four-wheel drive, or jump online and have over 60,000 parts at your fingertips, delivered anywhere in Australia. Go to terraintamer.com.
Hi, I'm Lynn Andrews. For over 50 years, we, the Lynn Andrews team, have specialised in commercial and residential property management. But above all, we specialise in people, helping to make life easier for investors and tenants. Everyone is treated with empathy and respect. It's the way we do business. It's the Lynn Andrews way. For residential and commercial property management, we're here to help you. Visit lynnandrews.com.au.
Wayville Hyundai's 2024 stock clearance is on now. Every new 2024 Hyundai is priced to clear. No waiting, no delays. You can drive away today. Did you know you can always get your car in quicker for a service at Wayville Hyundai? Enjoy peace of mind knowing you're in the best hands with our expert service team. Ask about our service now, pay later options. Change the way you Hyundai at Wayville Hyundai, opposite the showground at 11 Goodwood Road.
If you're constipated and struggling to poo, here's some great news. Introducing Caruso's Constipation Ease. Caruso's Constipation Ease is a new herbal and fibre combination containing cascara, yellow dog, fennel and green banana powder. These help to relieve constipation by making it easier for you to poo. So if you're struggling to poo and would like to poo more, why not try Caruso's Constipation Ease? Caruso's Constipation Ease is available from leading pharmacies and health stores. Always read the label and follow the directions for use.
When you book a hearing test with Can Do Hearing, you'll be seen by an accredited audiologist. Can Do Hearing is South Australian, and we're not owned by a hearing aid manufacturer. This means we only recommend what's going to work for you, and your options are almost endless. Plus the extra bonus, our profits go to Can Do for Kids, supporting local kids living with hearing and vision loss. Book an appointment with Can Do Hearing today. candohearing.com.au. That sounds better.
The news and issues that matter to South Australia. Always Adelaide. This is 5AA.
Hyundai Prius is on now with great deals on new and demo models. Visit Hyundai.com.au.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
8 minutes after 6, good morning to you and welcome to Tuesday on 5AA Breakfast. It is the 8th of April. Today's one of those shows that's going to demonstrate how big a place South Australia is. We're going to be off to the Inaminka Hotel before 7 o'clock this morning to talk about the fact that the new owners there are stranded because of the Queensland floodwaters that are coming through. That's happening in Inaminka. Back in Adelaide, the Premier today is going to announce a drought relief package for much of the state that's been hit by the sort of drought conditions, look, you have to go back decades and decades to find. It's been devastating, and the government now, some would say belatedly, coming to the party. We'll have the details on that for you. Also, the entire country's coming here for Gather Round, and we've got tickets for you to get along and enjoy one epic experience with a 4-day pass to Adelaide Oval to see all the games there. We've got 2 of those to give away this morning on the show. You get to pick what category you want a question from. They're pretty easy. So make sure you've got 8223 plugged into your phone. We'll check in on the campaign trail. Phil Curry's on the show. Eddie Maguire coming up as well in town for Gather Round, and the Treasurer of South Australia, Stephen Mulligan. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, listeners. Good morning, Will. I think the Treasurer will be somewhat relieved that he doesn't have to come on the show today empty-handed, because we were firing up a couple of days ago, strongly agreeing with the state Liberals about the fact that more needed to be done to help people on the land, and the government was looking a little bit like its focus was a bit too suburban, that they didn't have the instinctive gut feel that you get because they don't have any rural representatives, or apart from, I suppose you could say there's a couple like Eddie Hughes, but actual grazier type South Aussies, they don't really have a voice in the government, and, better late than never is what I'd say on this one. But we hadn't discussed the interview with the Treasurer, but I'm sure we would have been getting stuck into that.
Without a doubt.
Well, we still be anyway, because, how's the package going to work and what have you?
How quickly can it get out there?
Yeah.
There are elements to it that it's not just a lump sum of money. It's access to funding. It's the relaxation of some.
But imagine being in the middle of all this, and suddenly your ESL bill turns up. That's the sort of stuff.
Insurance?
Yeah. You think, is anyone helping me at all? Is anyone aware what our family, what our community is going through right now? So, a good thing that the government has actually stepped up to the plate. But we'll let our listeners be the judge of that, the extent to which they've done it. Love to hear from our rural listeners.
There was
what they think about it.
The Tigers did a good case study this morning about the Walter family of Melrose in the southern Flinders Ranges. They got a 700-hectare property. They didn't produce a crop last year. Their income was zero for an entire year.
How do you do that?
Well,
how do you not earn a salary? I mean, imagine like you do a year in our jobs and you just don't get paid. Crazy.
Just devastating.
Like your life would actually grind to a halt.
Yeah.
Your mortgage, all the money you spend on your children.
And maybe when you've got 700 hectares, you can borrow against your property.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, you wouldn't want another year.
No.
I mean, those debts would follow you for the rest of your life. It just...
Hey, on a much lighter note, today's lineup reflects Eddie Maguire in the studio at 8:20. You can already feel how crazy Adelaide's going to get, can't you? What about this? I got a phone call out of the blue from a mate of mine the other day. He goes, "Oh, we're all flying over from Sydney and going to put a bit of a crew together. Can I buy you dinner at McGill Estate?" Oh, the answer to which is, of course, yes, you can.
Nice call. Well, hang on. Was the call sussing out tickets?
No, they already had tickets.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
people.
good. No strings attached, McGill Estate. Well, that's solid.
I've only been there once. Have you been there?
Isn't it just reopened?
Yeah, I don't know.
Or was the kitchen might have reopened? It's great. Yeah, I've done it. It's terrific.
It's not what you call a, casual Tuesday night slap-up feed restaurant.
It's not a catch-up with mum and dad type joint.
I wonder if he's going to let me, choose the wine.
It's only gather around once a year.
You could send your friends bankrupt, couldn't you? They've got like 1954 Grangers there that you can taste.
Apparently it's the airport's busiest week of the year.
Pants was just saying that. He had the stats. It's incredible. Yeah, you think about that in the context of, Christmas, Easter. No, Gather Round. Gather Round is bigger than Christmas. Didn't the Beatles say something like that?
I think they've got a song about that.
John Lennon did. He said, "We're bigger than Jesus now."
That's right.
Caused quite the scandal.
Gather Round's bigger than Christmas.
Yeah, there you go.
It is remarkable. 13 after 6. 8223 0000 is that number. You can text us as always on 0448 08 1395 or jump onto the Facebook and YouTube live stream. We're going to take a quick
Just
break.
adjusting the camera there.
Yeah.
I was looking at the wrong thing.
Oh, were you?
Hello.
You're sort of looking off like an Instagram, like an influencer.
Yeah,
You're sort of looking,
or like a
candid shot.
Like a Soviet poster about productivity in the workplace. Need a few of them around here.
Let's take a break. News headlines in a moment.
Unhealthy mould spreads quickly in your bathroom. For a sparkling clean, mould-free shower, call the Grout Guy and stop it before it starts.
Adelaide's local, trusted and truly connected talkback radio station. 5AA. Always Adelaide.
Here's some news to make you feel better. In just 3 years, the Albanese Labor government has opened 5 free Medicare urgent care clinics in Adelaide, in Elizabeth, Marion, Morfett Vale, Para Hills and Royal Park, with one in East Adelaide opening soon. And to make you feel even better, next term Labor will also deliver more bulk billing for all South Australians. Labor built Medicare, and only Labor looks after it.
Authorised A. Burke, Australian Labor Party, Adelaide.
Valley Central, formerly known as Happy Valley Shopping Centre, has had a facelift. And like any fresh face, it's ready to welcome visitors. Discover the best in retail, beauty, health, grocery and wellness right in the heart of Happy Valley. And don't worry about parking. With over 300 spaces, you can come and go as you please, enjoying everything you need in one convenient location. Valley Central. New name, same friendly faces.
Dreaming of a getaway? Now's the perfect time. With the G'day Parks app, not only do you get access to more parks in more places, but if you book on the app before the 31st of August for travel anytime this year, you'll be entered into the draw to win free fuel for a year. A whole year of free fuel. Book to win and get away on us. G'day Parks, the easy way to get away. Here's good. G'dayParks.com.au.
T's and C's apply. Permit number ACT-TP25/00645.
This is the story of Tony by CLK Legal. Tony was a young man with a young family. He was employed as a labour hire worker.
Now, Tony hadn't been properly trained on how to use a piece of machinery, and unfortunately, he was seriously injured while using the machine, and that had significant impact on his life and his family's future.
Things were looking pretty bleak, but CLK Legal helped Tony successfully make a claim for workers' compensation benefits and also make a negligence claim against the host employer, and Tony received the compensation he was entitled to, saving his family from years of hardship.
So if you've been injured at work or labour hire work, you may have both a workers' compensation claim and a common law negligence claim. To get the compensation you deserve, visit clklegal.com.au, experts in personal injury law.
Hello, Cherry. I'm listening. The Cherry Tiggo 4 Pro is the pick of the bunch as Drive's Car of the Year 2025. Best urban car under 30k. Cherry pick yours from Southern Cherry Morfett Vale. T's and C's apply.
Happy birthday to you. 1, 2, 3.
There's a good reason so many people celebrate their birthday at the Dutch Pantry Cafe. A whole menu of authentic Dutch food for brekkie, brunch or lunch. Think of classics like croquettes, mini Dutch pancakes and Dutch pea soup, along with chip cones and Biscoff milkshakes. However old you're turning, celebrate at the Dutch Pantry Cafe. OG Road, Clemzig, open 7 days. Look for the big windmill.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Hyundai Prius is on now with great deals on new and demo models. Visit Hyundai.com.au.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
17 minutes after 6 news headlines on this Tuesday morning. Well, let's put some meat on the bone. We were talking earlier based on Matthew Pantelis' news that this is the busiest week that the Adelaide Airport experiences. More than 90 additional domestic flights scheduled. So between yesterday and next Sunday, the expectation is there'll be just shy of 200,000 people passing through the airport, surpassing the previous weekly record of 182,000 at Gather Round in 2023.
So the record's held by Gather Round.
Yeah, the Gather Round has number 1 and number 2 busiest weeks.
You literally cannot get a ticket to any game now, can you?
I don't believe you can.
It's a complete sellout.
Well, you can. We've got 2 doubles to go to all 4 games at Adelaide Oval.
Only by
to give away today.
5AA.
And I'll give you a hint. We've got 2 more tomorrow to give away as well.
Good. Sometimes I even give away the answers.
Well, you got to listen closely.
Tim Ginnivan.
Listen.
No, Jack Ginnivan.
Jack Ginnivan.
That's a bit of a composite of our own Timmy G and their Jackie G.
The state government is tipped to announce an extra $55 million to help the state's drought-stricken farmers. The advertiser says the full package includes $3 million to cull pests and manage kangaroos. It will also include mental health support. Donald Trump won't pause the rollout of global tariffs as the US president continues to take calls and meet with world leaders. There was a really bizarre moment, or about 20 minutes or so overnight in trading in the US where markets were going down like they have been over the last 3 sessions. And then they all shot up. The NASDAQ, that's all the tech stocks, went up 8%. The Dow went up 6%. And they all went up because of one errant tweet. Someone on Twitter said, the White House are planning a 90-day pause on the tariffs. And the markets went bananas.
Yeah, right.
And then,
but it wasn't true.
It wasn't true. Trump came out, held a press conference in the Oval Office with...
One of his biggest backers has proposed that they hold some 90-day reprieve.
Is that Bill Ackman?
Bill Ackman, yeah. But he's not, the president.
Doesn't have a lot of fans, this plan, among the president's... what formerly was his inner circle, his big backers. Mitch McConnell's not a supporter. Ted Cruz is not a supporter. Rand Paul has voted against the Canada tariffs. These are all classic Trump boosters. And now Elon Musk is out there tweeting like a madman videos of Milton Friedman, who, for people that know, is
the father of the free market.
The father of the free market. Elon Musk did some online seminar thing in Italy saying, well, he thinks the best arrangement would be a free trade deal between the US and Europe. He's well and truly out of the tent, Elon, now.
How can you have a free trade arrangement with an entire continent you've just gone to economic war with?
Elon's just doing his own thing again. He's out. Remember, he's little...
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's quite funny.
You sort of wonder, whether you like them or not, or agree with their policies or not. You'd have to agree that Trump and Musk are 2 of the biggest egomaniacs on earth.
Completely.
So how's that relationship going to prosper for forevermore?
Well, I think they're on a collision path on this one. The Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has agreed to eliminate their trade deficit with the US. China, meanwhile, overnight being threatened with a 104% tariff if they don't drop their 34% retaliatory tariff on US goods. This is like first-year economics. This is why tariffs are bad, because you know what? If everyone puts them on, everyone's worse off. Donald Trump has warned China they have a day to act.
They put a 34% tariff on above what their ridiculous tariffs were already. And I said, if that tariff isn't removed by tomorrow at 12 o'clock, we're putting a 50% tariff on above the tariffs that we put on.
Speaking of money, the redesign of the $5 note in focus this morning, it cost the RBA $507,000.
That is just absurd.
To redesign the $5 note.
Like half a mil.
So
how does it cost that much?
You're telling me you couldn't have paid 2 people $200,000 for a year to come up with a new version and saved $100,000, and that wouldn't have been possible?
I know.
$500,000?
And this is all to get rid of the Queen, isn't it?
Yeah, they're replacing it with
they should have left the Queen
Indigenous
on
artwork. I was happy with the Queen.
Like the Queen played a pretty important role in the history of our country.
Pretty fondly thought of by most Australians, the Queen.
I mean, if we can have like Charles Kingsford Smith on there for his achievements, and they're undoubtedly significant, why not the Queen?
Yeah.
Leave her on there. Well, it's too late now. They'd have to get someone to redesign a new note, probably.
The King and Queen Camilla, that is, have arrived in Rome for a 4-day state visit in Italy. They've got a busy schedule, also celebrating their 20th wedding anniversary this week. Oh, that's well played by the King.
Oh, well,
got it over the line,
convenient.
Queen. Hey, we've got to go to Italy on business, but don't worry, we can celebrate the anniversary there. This trip, it's happening within 2 weeks of the King spending time in hospital due to side effects from his cancer treatment. They won't be seeing the Pope, though, because the Pope, of course, is still too unwell. And police are investigating a car fire at Plympton last night. Police and fire crews were called to Maya Avenue just after 8:30 p.m. by reports of a vehicle on fire in a reserve. The Ford sedan was completely destroyed, which appeared to be deliberately lit, that fire there. So no doubt we'll hear more from SAPOL very shortly. The weather today, it's a mild 13.6 degrees outside at the moment. Pretty cool relative to what we've had. 23 is the top today. Now, that changes as of tomorrow. The top will hit 25. It'll be cloudy tomorrow. But then Thursday, 31. Friday, 29. Saturday, 32. Sunday, 32. Monday, 31.
That's crazy.
So that's going to be the 14th of April. And so it's going to hit the 14th of April, and we're going to have had a period of 4 days out of 5 where it was over 30, and the one that wasn't was 29.
I can remember years ago swimming in the sea at Easter and thinking, this is weird. Well, we're on track to do it again this year.
I think there's a very real chance, the way things are tracking, that we may just do that. Let's talk sport. Tom Wren's in the 5AA Breakfast studio. I tell you what, this time yesterday, Rennie went berserk about Jack Higgins' comments, and the story's only developed a life of its own since then. Colours, custom design, any house, any style, glider or garage doors, gliderall.com.au. Morning to you, Rennie.
He sort of doubled down, didn't he?
He did.
Good morning, Will, David, and look, a little bit tongue-in-cheek as well, but he might cop it a little bit, I think, when he plays on the weekend, even though he's not up against a Crows or Port Adelaide side.
Well, here he is.
I don't mind Adelaide, I just don't love it. I was having more of a joke around. Cal Wilkie tells me how good it is, but other than that, yeah.
Is this part of a ploy to maybe explore Adelaide a bit more over Gather Round? Just try and get a bit of a sweet deal going on to maybe go diving with sharks? Or...
Oh, that'd be lit if we got paid for it, but no one's come to the table.
I thought the Premier's comments were good, but like it feels a bit sort of Dan Andrews circa 2019, doesn't it? This kind of stuff these days. Like if people want to say that sort of crap, good luck to them, but it doesn't really sort of resonate with how people actually genuinely feel about Adelaide
There's
anymore.
not really the inferiority complex with Melbourne anymore.
I don't think so.
Melbourne's such a
feel
basket
sorry
case.
for them, don't you?
Yeah.
It's depressing.
It's like meeting someone from Albania.
Yeah.
How's that working for you?
Yeah, exactly. You know, you're stranded in the middle of nowhere sort of thing. But look, well, let's stick with the football theme. Matty Nix was on AFL 360 last night, so he was asked about the umpiring decisions and, you know, what did or didn't happen in the closing minute or so against Gold Coast. Let's have a bit of a quick
More than a couple. It's about 4 or 5. But if I worry about that sort of stuff, it's stuff that I can't affect. As I said before, I coach the Adelaide Football Club. I don't coach the umpires.
So I reckon that's pretty good. He was pretty strong after the game. You know, he was a little bit sort of joking there, but saying, you know, it's happened 4 or 5 times in the past. I reckon that's good. They've made their point. Now move on. You know, don't want to dwell on it now. Got to focus
you don't
on
sound like a pack of widgets.
But you also need to come out, and I think the club did a good thing by saying, you know, this isn't good enough. And it's gotten national traction. And I wonder too, boys, whether or not we go down the path of, we see it in NBA, American sport a lot more. NRL, you've got the captain's challenge. Should there be a captain's challenge or a coach's challenge where at some point you can go, no, that's not right?
Well, didn't they introduce that in the NFL after that shocking no call that cost the New Orleans Saints a spot in the Super Bowl about 4 or 5 years ago?
I think they've had it for longer than that. The challenge flags have been a thing in the NFL for a long, long time.
Okay.
But, I mean, now, logistics of it, I'm not sure. Pace of game already is being questioned.
It works fine in the NFL because the game stops between every play.
That's right.
So you've got an opportunity to do so. I don't know what happens if you thought a bloke was taken too high on centre wing halfway through a quarter. and you push a button and I guess a light flashes and then the ball's already in the forward pocket and you go, oh, no, we're going back to that one. I think it'd be terrible.
It should be like that great British game show from the 70s, Almost Anything Goes, where you play your joker. Where, Jordan Dawson has a joker card in his footy shorts and he pulls it out.
Says, I was taken high.
He's playing his joker.
Yeah. So you're right. Look, I probably haven't thought it through enough, but in theory, it's great, but in reality, you're right.
Yeah.
It probably doesn't work. The other thing is the Matildas played last night, so against Korea. Gee, they still know how to pull a crowd, don't they? 28,000. Couple of good goals, the second one coming in the second half. So they got the result there. So it was
not on TV either, not on free-to-air television, as Con reminded us.
That was disappointing.
Why would football? Like, it's still a bit of a challenger code in this country. It's still fighting for airtime massively with NRL and AFL. Why does it do a deal with some app that nobody has? It's not very smart.
Like I suspect,
money, I guess.
Well, I suspect they are that hard up for it. They just have to take the highest offer, and promoting the game comes second. I suspect. Whereas, see, the AFL, I bet the AFL could say, if it's an open market, there would be like Amazon would come to the party and say, all right, we'll pay you $7 billion. I bet they could do for exclusive rights. But the AFL go, well, no, we're actually better off if we take $5 and make sure the game is still the preeminent game and viewed on free-to-air TV and so forth.
Yeah.
Well, I reckon a lot of the minor codes can't afford to do that.
Yeah.
So they're always sort of juggling the money now versus the exposure.
You're right, though. Yeah. It's disappointing because it's, they're probably the most popular national side we've got, aren't they? The Matildas. They'd have to be number one.
One of the biggest crowds by a mile.
Yeah.
You watch with kids. You wait till Rosie's a bit older, mate. Like my boys, they won't watch a full AFL game. They will watch every second of a soccer match, be it the women or the men.
Well, it's just that little bit shorter too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which makes a big difference,
You lose
I think.
kids' concentration with footy.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
The 90 minutes with the breaks and everything, it's about a 2-hour package, whereas football now is probably 3.
But it seems counterintuitive, doesn't it? Because you think that a kid should, by definition, be more interested in AFL because there's more goals.
Yeah.
Heaps more goals. Unless
But
you're
you're
watching
right.
a Carlton game.
My 11-year-old, he's... he can take or leave the AFL, but loves the soccer, wakes up every day, checks the scores from overseas.
It's amazing how long quarters have gotten in the AFL this year. Like, they're regularly getting into almost the mid-30 minutes.
And that's probably because they're checking goals after every goal.
Yeah.
All of that. They go 32, 33, whereas when we were growing up, it was 28 minutes was a long quarter.
That's right. If it got to 30, it was sort of a talking point.
Yeah.
Oh, it's got to be over
it
soon.
was almost like Monday morning around the water cooler stuff. What about that quarter?
Yeah. Anyway, boys, this week I'm going to do a Masters preview. We'll do that tomorrow. Ooh. So what do we think? A full Masters preview?
Yes.
I want to hear more about that young Indian guy. Looks like a stick.
Oh, Bhatia.
Yeah.
Akshay Bhatia. Yeah, he can
He's
play.
so scrawny.
Yeah, he can seriously play.
Your mate Mark Leishman had a win.
He had a win first in 5 years in Liv. So he's not a part of the Masters field, unfortunately, but it was brilliant to see him. So I've been very lucky to play with him, I think, twice in the Pro-Am.
Well, he hadn't won before he started playing with you in Pro-Ams.
Correct. And
interesting.
$6.5 million. He did say to me he's going to give me 10% if he ever won one. So that's good. So, God, that'd be nice. Full Masters preview. We'll do it tomorrow, and we'll have a look at who's going to win and who to look out for during the Masters, including Akshay Bhatia.
Looking forward to that. Mate. All right, catch you, Rennie.
Thanks, boys.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Partly cloudy, 23 today with the 6:30 news. Good morning, I'm Matthew Pantelis.
Physio Extra offers Locomat and Armio robotic technology services at their Marion and Eastwood clinics. PhysioExtra.com.
US President Donald Trump has now threatened an additional 50% tariff on Chinese goods coming into America on top of existing levies if Beijing doesn't back down on retaliation measures. If it goes ahead, China would be facing a 104% tariff. Major European markets have closed more than 4% down overnight, the fourth consecutive day of losses. US markets also down, and US trade advisor Peter Navarro says people need to calm down.
What I'm seeing is a beautiful situation where we will hit 50,000 on the Dow, and we're going to have a broad-based recovery in the S&P 500. The market's trying to find its bottom now. The thing I would say to retail investors is don't get panicked out by all of this.
The tariff war will have a flow-on effect to prices of consumer goods here. Tech expert Trevor Long says some people may get a shock when the next Apple phone is released.
This September, when we get the next iPhone announcement, I expect we will be shocked by the price. Not that it's going to double, but it's definitely going to be higher than last year. Now, there's two reasons for that. One is tariffs. The other is just the economy, the dollar and all those things.
Just under a quarter of Australians believe they'll have a better standard of living in 5 years' time. A Redbridge poll shows 41% feel their situation will be either worse or much worse by 2030. The state government has announced a $55 million drought relief package for farmers. The money comes on top of $18 million announced in November and will help with freight costs, vehicle registration rebates, pest control, including for roos, and mental health support. The irony, though, for farmers is the flooding in the far northeast of South Australia as rainwater from New South Wales and Queensland heads towards Lake Eyre. In Aminka, soon to be cut off with water rising rapidly there, and the Strzelecki track is closed to all but essential traffic. The Australian Council of Social Service is calling for more investment in thermal efficiency and solar for those doing it tough. Homeowners could receive 30% off electric batteries under the federal Labor government's newly announced cheaper home battery program. ACOS Director of Climate and Energy, Kelly Court, says while this is welcome news, it will be taken up by people who already own a home and have lower energy bills.
More needs to be done for those people that are in private rental or in social housing or on really low incomes like pensioners that just can't afford that upfront cost. So we need additional measures and supports for those people.
Police are investigating a car fire at Plympton last night. A Ford sedan destroyed in a reserve at Maya Avenue at 8:30. The fire was deliberately lit. King Charles has arrived in Italy for an official state visit, his first overseas trip since being briefly hospitalised. Nine's Europe correspondent Edward Godfrey with more.
3 new images have been released of King Charles and Queen Camilla to mark their 20th wedding anniversary later this week. The pictures were taken in Rome at the British ambassador's official residence shortly after they touched down to begin a 4-day state visit. While there, the King will address Italy's parliament, becoming the first British monarch to do so. On Wednesday, he and Camilla will attend a state dinner with Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni. The royals were supposed to visit the Vatican, but that was cancelled due to the Pope's health issues. It's Charles's first trip outside the UK since his own brief hospital visit following cancer treatment.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, style and safety to your home. Gliderol.com.au.
Tom Wren, good morning.
Good morning to you as well, Maddie. We'll start with soccer because the Matildas have recorded another win against Korea, this time a 2-0 result in front of more than 28,000 fans in Newcastle. Mary Fowler opened the scoring in the first half before Caitlin Torpey sealed the result in the second half. Meantime, there's been one game in the English Premier League. It's just wrapped up too. Newcastle beating Leicester 3-0. The Magpies' Jacob Murphy had 2 goals inside 11 minutes. His second coming after a stunning shot from the halfway line hit the crossbar.
Here's Fabian Schär. It's a wonderful try. It's off the bar, and it comes out for Murphy on the follow-up. Well, he gets the goal, but Schär should get the glory, really.
Audio there thanks to Optus. To football now. Port Adelaide will be without forward Darcy Byrne-Jones for this Sunday's clash against Hawthorn unless the club successfully challenges a 1-match suspension for a high bump. Meantime, Brisbane's Levi Ashcroft has picked up the Round 4 AFL Rising Star nominee. The 18-year-old impressed against Richmond with 22 touches, 4 marks and a goal. To golf, world number 3 golfer Xander Schauffele is hopeful he can put his injury troubles behind him to contend at the Masters this week. Schauffele currently holds 2 of the 4 major titles as PGA and British Open champion. But the American has had an injury-restricted start to 2025, something quite foreign to him.
Me not being hurt before and sitting at home thinking all these thoughts, watching everyone else play golf and sort of fly by me, it's been very motivating.
And that is the 5AA Sport. That starts on Thursday night, Maddie.
Good on you, Tom. 5AA's forecast.
For your next conference, charity gala or any type of function, make it a superstar experience at Adelaide Entertainment Centre.
Partly cloudy today, 23. Cloudy tomorrow, 25. Then the sun is back for the weekend and the days leading to it. 31 on Thursday, 29 for Friday. Right now, 14. 5AA. Always Adelaide.
Hyundai Prius is on now with great deals on new and demo models. Visit Hyundai.com.au.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
24 minutes to 7. It was about this time yesterday we started getting the first calls off air that we thought were people taking the Michael with regard to what was being described as a seal on the north-south motorway.
It sounded like some sort of April Fool's joke.
It really did. It turned out to be a sea lion, in fact, not a seal.
Like the ones
it was about the size of a cow.
KI.
Yeah, it was huge. I think it had gotten out of the water to shed its skin, but it got lost in the process. Quite sad. Hayley Steele was the driver who took some of the best video of this and spoke on 10 News last night.
6 o'clock in the morning, pretty dark, and I've just gone over something. My car's gone airborne and smack right bang into the ground. It was kind of like what did I just hit?
So one of the confusing elements of this was we started getting report from Infrastructure and Transport and others that this was, this is all very commonplace. We raised an eyebrow at that. Well, a spokesperson for the National Parks and Wildlife Service said there's a small population of Australian sea lions that are often seen at the breakwater walls at Outer Harbour. It's incredibly rare for the sea lions to swim into the Barker Outlet, let alone venture this far inland. National Parks and Wildlife Service received the report that a sea lion had been seen in the mangroves and near a bridge below the north-south motorway. They checked it out, found it was in good health. They figured this is probably the one that they'd gone and inspected, and then it got lost. Weighed up to about 300 kilos, they think. But anyway, the National Parks and Wildlife people said, actually, like most people who drive on the north-south motorway, doesn't happen every day. A little more rare than it was first being made out to us yesterday in the morning.
The most sort of nonplussed press secretary in the world who was doing the media for the Department of Transport.
Trying to really calm down the story.
Oh, yeah, no, it's just
happens all the time.
Seal on the expressway.
You guys need to get out of the city more.
Yeah. Where have you been?
Speaking of getting out of the city, the other thing that happened on the program yesterday, on which there's a development this morning, was our interview with the federal Liberal leader, Peter Dutton, with regard to the money he's bringing to South Australia in the event he's elected Prime Minister for the freight bypass, an 80-20 revenue split, an 80-20 funding split, with the 80 being from the federal government as opposed to Anthony Albanese's funding of the project was 50-50 with the state government. Well, this morning, Vincent Tarzia has had this to say.
The South Australian Liberals have announced a $211 million commitment to co-fund the Greater Adelaide Freight Bypass to deliver a $1 billion freight solution for South Australia, joining with the Federal Coalition's $840 million pledge. This is a transformative project that will deliver a safer and more efficient route for freight vehicles travelling through South Australia, bypassing the Adelaide Hills and eastern suburbs and removing thousands of trucks from the congested southeastern freeway. This will be, along with the federal coalition and now the state team, a $1 billion investment to ensure South Australians finally see the Greater Adelaide Freight Bypass built and also delivered. It will divert up to 60% of heavy freight away from the southeastern freeway, and this will cut congestion but also improve safety for local drivers as well.
So Vincent Tarzia is a fan, and I guess the 24 hours after the event feels like he can come out with a full-throated support of a policy that previously had been an Albanese-Malinowskis plan. So now he can come out.
So it's the same plan with more money?
It's the same plan with the feds providing more money.
Yeah, okay. Which is good news either way.
Absolutely.
It's going to happen.
Absolutely, it's going to happen. But I think Vincent Tarzia probably was hamstrung in saying it was a good idea before because it was all Albanese and Malinowskis who'd talked about the funding.
So now it's a good idea.
Now the Libs have got a better story. That's right. The Libs have got a better story to tell about that freight bypass.
What are the odds?
Which is obviously very popular.
Yeah, completely. What are the odds that, given that the size of the debt doesn't appear to be an issue anymore, the Labor says, all right, we'll put more money in too. It's what Dutch did when Albo announced his Medicare funding. Came out and said, we'll do that, plus we'll throw in an extra $500 million.
There's this.
I think it'd be hard campaigning at the moment. Imagine knocking on doors, Labor or Liberal. Hello, I'm from one of the two major parties here to talk to you about the federal election campaign. What's your percentage of? What's the?
Well, especially when people say, "I like what they said about Medicare." We did too. Yeah, we said this about funding roads. Yeah, but they matched that as well. What
about IR? What about all this same job, same pay? Yeah, no, we're sticking with that one. Yeah. Are we going to ban the CFMEU? Don't like them.
Like, it's obviously it polls. The polling suggests it's good strategy, or I assume so. Maybe not. The idea that you don't give no quarter and match everything. It's probably in part why we have runaway debt at the moment, because during an election campaign, apparently anything goes. But it does feed into this idea that the major parties are totally indistinguishable from one another. Like, no one wants to fight. No one wants to fight an election on the merits of their argument. They just want to say, well, we're doing the same thing, but look, our guys, you'll like our guy better.
I got to say, I'm reluctant to call it 3.5 weeks out, particularly as given in the backdraft of The Voice and the constant barrage of negative comments we're getting from our listeners in suburban Adelaide about how they felt Albanese was performing. I was pretty much convinced then that he would struggle to win a second term. I really think yesterday Peter Dutton blew his campaign up. I think you don't think it was already circling the drain? Well, yeah, it was in strife.
I feel like yesterday was a desperate response to what they felt like was a campaign that was slipping away.
But seriously, how do you junk a policy, apologise, say we got it wrong? We didn't apologise. He said we got it wrong. But is this the new model for campaigning, where you start the campaign with a whole bunch of different policies and you work your way backwards depending on what the polling says about whether people like them or not?
Direct democracy.
All it does is invite cynicism about what his real plans are, which might be baseless cynicism, but it's cynicism all the same. It was disastrous.
Yeah, but I think you do it unless it's desperate.
And he said, we got that wrong. It was a mistake. I'm thinking, really?
Yeah.
It's like you can do things to yourself, and you knew Gillard was stuffed when she said, from now on you're going to be seeing the real Julia. It begged the question, well, who's this other Julia who's been claiming to run the nation for the last 6 months? What, the fake Julia's out, is she?
So you're not ready to call it yet? I tell you, barring something surprising or unforeseen.
Well, it's going to need a trademark Albo mid-campaign disaster. He's going to need to forget something massive.
But it's going to have to be even bigger than a regular elbow-sized numerical
But
issue.
I reckon you look at it now. So it's going to be school holidays in a few days' time. This weekend gather around. No one in South Australia is going to be paying any attention to anything. No one in the AFL states is going to be paying any attention to anything. So then we've got 2 weeks of school holidays, in the middle of which we've got the split week with that awesome week where, apart from the emergency services workers and so on, everyone's only going to be working 3 days. No one's going to be campaigning on Good Friday. Nobody's going to be campaigning on Easter Monday. Albo almost doesn't need to campaign anymore. If he can just maintain this level of equilibrium, he's home and hosed, I reckon.
Just got some news through from SAPOL that we'll pursue shortly. Police and emergency services responded with serious crash on the Nullarbor. It happened about 44 minutes ago at 6 a.m. Police received a report of a serious crash involving a truck and car on the Air Highway, about 75 k's from the West Australian border. Motorists travelling across the border on the Air Highway should expect lengthy delays. So we'll get some more information on that in a moment. Right now, though, let's head out on the road and check in with Jade Robert for the first time on this Tuesday morning. Good morning to you, Jade.
Good morning, guys. What a beautiful morning to be out and about in Adelaide. Jack Higgins, we're talking to you. We thought on the back of that St Kilda player's remarks after the Port Saints game, just to refresh your memory, Jack Higgins, he was interviewed post-game, and of course St Kilda is staying in Adelaide for the week ahead of Gather Round, and he was asked, what are you going to do for the week? How are you going to spend your week in Adelaide? And he turned around and he said, well, I don't really like Adelaide. I'm going to stay in my room and play video games. And then yesterday, St Kilda, they had a training camp, and he doubled down on his remarks. So we thought, okay, we are going to twist your arm. We're going to change your mind and go out and about today and show you all the fun things that you can get up to in Adelaide. So right now you find me down at Glenelg, and what better way to watch the beautiful sunrise this morning than from the Ferris wheel? I mean, that's giving you Santa Monica Pier vibes, surely. And then why don't you head down to Magic Mountain or the Beach House, whatever it's called now. I still like to call it Magic Mountain. We've got beautiful water slides, putt-putt mini golf, and video games galore, mate. So if you're missing out on your video games, head in there. You can get your fix. But we thought we'd put it out to our lovely listeners today. Where should I go next? So I've been down at Glenelg. I can smell waffles and bacon and egg sangers in the air. I'm thinking maybe O'Connell Street and find the home of the pie floater, maybe. But call in, tell the boys, where should I go next? And let's try and convince Jack Higgins that Adelaide is, in fact, Radelaide.
Thank you, Jade. I don't know. Should we even be that insecure about it? Like, does it worry us as a city that we're getting a character assessment from some kid who says his idea of fun is staying in his hotel room playing World of Warcraft or
Call of Duty?
Call of Duty. Mm. I mean, there's a certain sort of, Arrested Development quality to all of that, isn't there?
I suspect he plays Call of Duty wherever he is my thought.
Have you been to St Kilda, Melbourne recently? It's a good place to go if you want to get followed down the street by meth enthusiasts.
Let's check traffic. When you cover things, they last longer. Same goes for UB Sun Smart Check UV levels daily.
Thanks, Will, and morning, David. Looking really good for the running today. We're actually breakdown free, so good start to a Tuesday. A few ways to keep in mind. You'll find it at Theberton, Port Road near Phillip Street. Also this morning at Hallett Cove. Speeds at 40. Lonsdale Road near Perry Bar. Oversea always gets slow about 7:30, 8 o'clock. And look out for works at Modbury North, Golden Grove Road near Milne Road. Cameras, High Street, Ballunga and Main South Road, Adeldinga. Chomp on some churros from a Porto. Crispy churros dusted with cinnamon sugar and served with Biscoff topping and cookie crumbs. 5 and 8 packs available at a Porto. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
We know you are concerned about SA's public hospital capacity and how long it can take to see a doctor. So are we. We need enough doctors to provide the safe, quality care you deserve. There are solutions for South Australia, and it's not rocket science. Visit safermedicalstaffing.com.au and sign the petition to support our 3-point plan for enough doctors for South Australia. Authorised by Dr David Pope, South Australian Salaried Medical Officers Association, Adelaide.
Imagine waking up in a home designed for luxury living, where every day brings the opportunity for a morning swim, state-of-the-art wellness amenities, and evenings spent with friends. Retirement isn't about slowing down, it's about living on your own terms. Living Choice has created luxury homes with premium resort-style amenities and a community of like-minded individuals who believe retirement is about living life to the fullest. Make your choice. Living Choice. Go to livingchoice.com.au.
For over 45 years, Statesman Windows, a third-generation South Aussie family-run business, has helped home renovators and builders bring design, charm and natural light into their homes. With industry-leading turnaround times, Statesman Windows continues to offer value for money, backed up by great service and advice right across Metro and regional South Australia. For windows when and where you want them, call Statesman Windows.
Windows when and where you want them. Windows when and where you want them.
1 minute you're taking a test drive at Edwardstown Mazda, the next, sipping cocktails in Bali. Oh, cheers. Buy a car from Edwardstown Mazda and win the ultimate Bali holiday, flights, accommodation and activities. Plus, score up to $8,000 in savings across the entire Edwardstown Mazda range. Your new car and Bali holiday are waiting only at Edwardstown Mazda, the #1 destination for Mazda in SA. T's and C's apply.
It's gotta be.
Now, where is my suitcase?
Hyundai Prius is on now with great deals on new and demo models. Visit Hyundai.com.au.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
10 minutes to 7. Let's check in with the Weather Bureau about the warm week ahead. Mark Anilak is on deck this morning. Mark, good morning to you.
Good morning.
So it'll get warm later in the week, but it's not particularly warm today, is it?
Well, it's not too bad. 23 degrees, partly cloudy. I think we've got a bit of cloud around this morning, but it's quite thin, and I think it'll break up for the afternoon. So we'll have some lengthy sunny periods this afternoon, getting to a top of 23 degrees, currently 13.6. Tomorrow, 25 degrees, and for the start of the gather round, Thursday, 31 degrees, mostly sunny. Friday, 29, and the weekend at this stage, sunny with temperatures around 32 degrees for both Saturday and Sunday.
You almost didn't want to say the 3
Yeah, I'm a bit more
yesterday,
confident
now. One of our listeners,
more confident.
Our regular stats man, Ben Jordan, he texted in pointing out, Mark, that there's actually been quite a few days in February in years gone by when we've had 30. So it's not that uncommon.
No, it's not. Having temperatures in early to mid-April, temperatures in the 30s is not uncommon.
Yeah.
Once you start getting to mid to late April, it sort of happens once every 2 or 3 years. So, it is certainly very warm, but not uncommon, no.
Good on you, Mark. Mark Anlake there from the Weather Bureau. Ben wrote in 2018, Adelaide had 5 days above 30 from the 19th of April, but the real outlier, May 1921, the first 5 days averaged 30 degrees.
1921.
Yeah.
You didn't have the air conditioning back then helping you out, did you?
Also.
All right, let's head to SAPOL. Senior Constable Kimberly Broad's on the line. Kimberly, we just mentioned it a moment ago. It sounds like there's been a really serious crash in the far western part of the state.
Yeah, that's right. It was about 6 o'clock this morning that police received a report of a serious crash involving a truck and car on the air highway on the Nullarbor. The crash is about 75 k's from the Western Australian border. So we're just issuing a notice to motorists who might be travelling across the border on the air highway to expect some lengthening delays, but we will provide some further information when known.
Kimberly, also a drunk driver's been caught in Elizabethvale.
Yeah, it was just before midnight. Police were on Main North Road when they noticed a Kia sedan. It grabbed their attention as it was travelling at about 50 in the 80k zone and was also swerving within its lanes. So we've stopped the car and submitted the driver to a breath test. He's recorded a blood alcohol reading of 0.107. So that driver's a 27-year-old man from Manapara West. He's been reported for drink driving, issued with an instant loss of licence, and he's also had his car impounded. So he'll be appearing in court Adelaide date to face those charges.
And getting there by a bus, rightly so. Good on you. Kimberly Broad there from SAPOL, thank you.
We just spent a bit of time after 7 o'clock this morning talking about the state government's drought relief package that's going to be unveiled a little bit later today. We do have some details that we can sink our teeth into, but it gives you some sense of the wide expanses of South Australia to think at the same time as emergency drought relief is required in SA. We can go to a place like Inaminka where the floods from Queensland have meant Inaminka has become isolated, and the hotel there, it might be weeks before people can get in and out. Laura and Travis are the new owners of the Inaminka Hotel and join us on 5AA Breakfast now. Laura and Travis, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Morning, guys.
So, guys, tell us, how long have you actually been in Inaminka? This is a bit of a rude welcome if you recently arrived.
Yeah, so we came in as managers 5 weeks ago.
Oh, no. 5 weeks ago. So you're still just sort of, getting settled in. How long do you think you're going to be stuck for?
Quite possibly up to 3 months. But at the moment, we're still just waiting to see what does eventuate.
3 months?
Yes.
Oh, crikey. So how will you manage in terms of like getting supplies and so on?
We've been lucky enough, the town's had a couple of deliveries over the last week where everyone has stocked up, so we will all be fine for a while. If it continues on a bit further than that, then we will have to think of other ways to get supplies in.
Yeah. So what's the sort of mood like in the town as everyone sort of prepares for what could be quite a long stay, all sort of cooped up together?
No, everybody's morale's pretty high, eh? We had a few drinks last night. The SES are up here at the moment. There's about 15 guys up here. So, yeah, the morale's pretty high, surprisingly. But, yeah, no, everyone's pretty positive. They did a cracking job on the levee last night. They worked up till like midnight last night. And I think they're out there again pretty soon, making sure we're all going to be safe.
What do the locals tell you about the history of flooding in the area, guys? Have they lived through it before?
Well, I think there's only a couple that have actually lived through it or gone through it before. So we heard last night. So there's not a great lot of feedback from the locals that have been through floods up here.
And has it changed the sort of environment much? Like, are there more birds? Does it feel different with all the water around, guys?
Yeah. No, there's heaps of birds up here. The pelicans are up here. We went for a bit of a drive a few days ago, and all the wildflowers are coming out already. It's actually a spectacle to see. most people probably never see it in their life, but it's definitely a spectacle, that's for sure.
Wow, that sounds amazing. Sounds beautiful.
What about utilities, power and fresh water and so forth, things like that? Has the supply been interrupted or uninterrupted?
No, so up here we're not on mains power, so we run off generators, and we've got a solar battery system with an 18-cell battery system that supplies the pub. The trading post next door have their own generator and battery system as well. So at this stage, I think we should be all right with that. There was still talk about it, but we're just going with the flow.
And what are you going to do to pass the time, guys? You got a good, pack of cards, Monopoly, plenty of beer, I hope.
We got plenty of beer and we got plenty of food.
It's almost going to be like COVID again in a way, like going through a lockdown.
Yeah, it will be to a certain extent, because you've got myself and Travis, and we've got 3 other staff members that will have to try and keep busy for the period that we're isolated.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure we'll find something.
They'll probably be looking pristine for when all the tourists do come back, don't worry.
Yeah, you can have some good stories to tell as well.
Exactly. Well, good luck, guys. Sure. Good luck. If you get bored, just feel free to ring the 5AA Brekkie Show at any stage to give us an update as to how you're tracking. Good on you. Laura and Travis there at the Inaminka Hotel. 3 months. What about that?
Imagine taking it over 5 weeks ago and then...
I know.
You just getting settled in, getting to know the area, the people. Well, you get to know the people really well over the next 3 months.
Exactly.
5AA News is coming up. Our Wrap of the Morning Stories is not too far away.
At Simplicity Funerals, we have been keeping funerals simple and easy for over 40 years. Visit simplicityfunerals.com.au or call us 24/7 to get started today. Simplicity Funerals. Easy, respectful, simple.
G'day, Alan Gray here. Talking mechanic to mechanic, one of the toughest parts of our job would have to be tracking down the most reliable four-wheel drive parts. At Terrain Tamer, we have Australia's largest range of four-wheel drive parts, all designed, engineered and tested to outperform the original. Hey, righto guys. Talk to one of Terrain Tamer's army of trained parts interpreters who all speak fluent four-wheel drive, or jump online and have over 60,000 parts at your fingertips, delivered anywhere in Australia. Go to terraintamer.com.
At the Gas Shop, we're known for our range of stunning gas heaters, including gas hot water systems, cooktops and barbecues. And of course, we install everything we sell, so the process is seamless. But we're also your air conditioning people, stocking and installing the best brands.
Use that cool voice again.
Okay.
At the Gas Shop, we'll keep you cool all summer long. The Gas Shop, 161 Unley Road, opposite Target. Cool.
Here at 5AA, we're all about supporting local. The Excelsior Hotel has 20% seniors discount on meals 12 till 3 Monday to Friday and all day weekends. The Excelsior Hotel Brompton feels like coming home, but better.
Here's some news to make you feel better. In just 3 years, the Albanese Labor government has opened 5 free Medicare urgent care clinics in Adelaide, in Elizabeth, Marion, Morfett Vale, Para Hills and Royal Park, with one in East Adelaide opening soon. And to make you feel even better, next term Labor will also deliver more bulk billing for all South Australians. Labor built Medicare, and only Labor looks after it.
Authorised A. Burke, Australian Labor Party, Adelaide.
The latest local, national and international news for South Australia. This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Partly cloudy, 23 with the 7 o'clock news. Good morning, I'm Matthew Pantelis.
Physio Extra for Locomat robotic technology treating stroke, cerebral palsy, brain and spinal cord injuries. Visit physioextra.com.
Police and emergency services are responding to a serious crash on the Nullarbor Plain. Senior Constable Kimberly Broad says it occurred an hour ago.
The crash is about 75 k's from the Western Australian border. So we're just issuing a notice to motorists who might be travelling across the border on the air highway to expect some lengthening delays, but we will provide some further information when known.
It involves a truck and a car. Help is on the way for drought-affected farmers in South Australia. The state government is expected to announce a $55 million drought relief package today, and the Primary Industries Minister, Claire Scriven, says the funding will provide vehicle registration and emergency services levy relief.
It affects the local communities as well. So this package, $55 million, is going to be covering both direct financial supports for those who are doing it toughest, assistance for mental health and financial counselling, as well as support for the wider regional communities and businesses.
The town of Inaminka, meantime, is facing being cut off for up to 3 months by floodwaters coming down from Queensland and New South Wales. The Strzelecki track is closed for all but essential supplies. Trav and Laura recently bought the Inaminka Hotel. Laura says they've got enough food for some time.
We've been lucky enough, the town's had a couple of deliveries over the last week where everyone has stocked up, so we will all be fine for a while. If it continues on a bit further than that, then we will have to think of other ways to get supplies in.
A fleet of blue bounce around the Barossa buses are now ready for gather round, providing a free hop-on, hop-off service connecting towns, wineries and other businesses across the region. Footy fans can also ride for free on the Adelaide Metro network to every game and ground with a valid gather round ticket. Meantime, the RAA has released a list of charging stations in the southeast for people driving here with EVs that need a recharge, hopefully here by the first siren. And then the Adelaide Airport expecting its busiest week with just under 200,000 passengers coming through, up to 15,000 on the previous record of 183,000 for the 2023 event. Flights in and out setting a record this week to just over 1,100, up by around 100 on a week ago. Major European markets have closed more than 4% down, the fourth consecutive day of losses. US markets also down. Adam Dawes, Senior Investment Advisor with Shaw & Partners, says to counteract the market shifts, the RBA may need to move aggressively on interest rates and then see how the dust settles.
But it could be 2, maybe 3, even 4 interest rate cuts this year for the RBA. Now, we were obviously saying that, potentially they might do 1 or 2, but everything has now been sped up, and everything because of what's happening overseas. We are looking for the RBA to really get on the front foot.
Meantime, just under a quarter of Australians believe their living standards will worsen over the next 5 years. Gabrielle Hodson reports.
5 years on from the start of the pandemic, more Aussies believe they'll be worse off 5 years into the future, with only 24% of voters believing they'll have a higher standard of living in 2030 than they did in 2020. The Redbridge poll for News Corp shows the worst of that pessimism is in suburbia, with Queenslanders more worried about the future than Victorians or people in New South Wales. News Corp says young adults are more likely to be optimistic, as were people intending to vote Labor rather than the Greens or Coalition.
The cost of living crisis hitting SA harder than any other state or territory. New research by charity Good 360 says 1 in 5 can't afford the essentials, nearly double the national figure. Managing Director Alison Covington says a third are skipping or postponing buying clothes or shoes due to cost.
If you had children, they change sizes each year, and so they need the basic clothing and shoes, and a lot of South Australians just don't have access to the basic everyday essentials that they should have access to. And that's more than food. We should have access to, it's a basic human right that people should have access to these things.
Turning to 5AA Sport.
Colours, custom design, any house, any style. Gliderol Garage Doors. Gliderol.com.au.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Matty. Adelaide coach Matthew Nicks is wanting to move on from a series of controversial umpiring decisions in the Crows' 1-point loss to the Gold Coast. The AFL has conceded Crows forward Isaac Rankin should have received a mark or free kick in the final couple of minutes. Nick's telling Fox Footy, while it's frustrating, it's not the first time a decision has gone against them and it's out of his control.
It's more than a couple, it's about 4 or 5, but if I worry about that sort of stuff, it's stuff that I can't affect. As I said before, I coach the Adelaide Football Club, I don't coach the umpires.
Still on footy, Collingwood has been dealt a double injury blow. Jordan De Goey and Lockie Schultz have both been ruled out of Friday's clash against Sydney. To soccer now, the Matildas have recorded consecutive wins over South Korea, winning 2-0 in front of 28,000 fans in Newcastle. Mary Fowler opened the scoring and says she enjoyed playing on the wing, where she usually plays for Manchester City.
I see a lot of the field from there and just a lot of different angles, so I enjoyed being there. And I think on a personal level, I want to try to be a bit more consistent with my performances in national teams.
Meantime, there was one game in the English Premier League this morning. Newcastle jumping up to 5th with a clinical 3-0 win against Leicester. Well, the Royal Challengers Bengaluru have cemented their place in the top 4 of the IPL standings following a thrilling 12-run win against the Mumbai Indians. And Australian surfer Isabella Nichols has defeated back-to-back champion Caroline Marks to advance to the quarterfinals of the El Salvador Pro. And that's the 5AA Sport.
5AA's traffic.
Selling your commercial property for top dollar is made easier with the team at RWC Adelaide. Visit rwcadelaide.com.
Morning there, got a breakdown to look out for this morning. Clearland, it's on the freeway up track just before the Crayfors exit. Works at Modbury North to look out for, Golden Grove Road, New Mill Road, and slow for works at Darlington this morning. Speeds under 40 k's. Works Main South Road near Brookside Road. A little bit busy at the moment, South Road, Karata Park with a camera. Nottage Terrace at Medindi Gardens. HBO original The Last of Us returns on Max, starring Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey. Every path has a price. Premieres Monday, April 14 on Max. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA's weather now.
For your next conference, charity gala or any type of function, make it a superstar experience at Adelaide Entertainment Centre.
Partly cloudy, 23 today, cloudy tomorrow, 25. The sun returns for gather round, 31 Thursday, 29 on Friday, and staying up in the low 30s over the weekend. Right now, 13 degrees, 5AA, always Adelaide.
There's one word that should be deleted forever. It transcends language, culture, geography, status, and it doesn't discriminate. That word is cancer, and until we can delete it, we're going to treat it. Lift Cancer Care is dedicated to offering additional cancer services to complement your existing treatment plan. We collaborate closely with your medical team to achieve the best outcomes for your diagnosis. So, if you or a loved one are ever struck with the C word, think of the L word first. liftcancercare.com.au.
The Kia Cerato set the bar as Kia's most popular small sedan. Now, the new first ever Kia K4 raises it. Best-in-class second-row legroom, ultra-wide screens, and a GT line that comes turbocharged. Enter Kia's biggest small sedan, the Kia K4. Small sedan, big personality. Test drive today or find out more at kia.com.au.
Kia. Movement that inspires.
Setting the agenda for South Australia. This is 5AA, always Adelaide.
Hyundai Prius is on now with great deals on new and demo models. Visit hyundai.com.au.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
7:09. Good morning to you. Joining us for the very first time on this Tuesday morning. Don't despair if you are. We haven't given away any gather round tickets yet, but we will be.
So that means there's 2 chances left.
There's 2 chances left today.
Just today, yeah.
2 chances left tomorrow as well to get along with a double 4-day pass to Adelaide Oval. So you get to see everything from the Thursday night Crows-Geelong clash right through to the Sunday Port Hawthorn game. What a pair of bookends they are too.
You basically just go to the Oval on Thursday and stay there.
You could just lock yourself in.
Stay there till Sunday night, the Port Hawthorn clash.
Footy, food or fun, that's what Gather Round is all about. They're the 3 categories you get to choose from. These tickets will be given away this hour and next, so make sure you have 8223 0055 plugged into your phone. Phil Curry will join us on the campaign trail after 7:30, and we've got a trial by jury to conduct around 8 o'clock as well. Let's start, though, on the campaign trail on this 12th day of the federal election campaign. Both leaders in Sydney. The first debate is on tonight. The News Corp People Forum will be on Sky News tonight from 7:30. Do you think a debate's going to move the needle much? They start to feel quaint to me, debates as a format.
Yeah. Only if one of the candidates has a shocker.
Yeah, you have to go full Joe Biden, don't you, now, for a debate to actually matter.
God save the Queen, man. You need to completely lose your faculties. Well, that was a unique set of circumstances where it showed up the Democrats, basically lying about the guy's mental capacity and ability to make a coherent point about anything, and what was that killer Trump line? I'd know what the president just said, and frankly, neither did he.
Yeah, that was the end of Joe Biden.
That was the sentence that killed Joe Biden.
That's right.
Nothing like that's going to happen.
The Prime Minister will today announce a $1 billion mental health package to open or upgrade 100 mental health centres around the nation. Peter Dutton will be visiting some key seats as well. So, intriguing day ahead. We'll wait and see whether ultimately whether the debate tonight does move the needle. Back here locally, it's a big day for the regions in South Australia, those that have been hit hardest by drought. The Premier will announce an extra $55 million to help farmers. It's a package that includes a lot of the sort of stuff that has been called for the last couple of months. $13 million for on-farm drought infrastructure grants, $4 million to assist charities with freight costs to transport donated fodder to assist farmers, financial relief that will be handed out immediately by providing rebates for the emergency services levy and commercial vehicle registration fees for primary producers that are receiving the Commonwealth's Farm Household Allowance, $1 million for rural financial counselling support, $2.5 million for an immediate and comprehensive strategy to boost mental health and resilience. There's a whole heap that's going into this. We're going to get a sense over the course of the day whether this touches the sides and is directed appropriately, but it is good that the state government has finally seen that this requires urgent attention, because I don't think they've exactly been on the front foot with dealing with this one.
No, they haven't, and I think that the Tigers called it the For Pete's Sake campaign, which they cleverly launched a couple of weeks ago, where the front page was a whole sort of collage of photographs of different farmers, all of whom were called Peter. And I think, the government showing its city-centric sort of composition had a slower reaction time on this than it does on a lot of things that affect suburban voters. But having said that, they got there in the end. And interestingly, a lot of the money that's allocated is for real grassroots sort of sport and recreation type stuff, and that is such a huge part of what makes these towns tick. You look at a place like KI. What's the saying? If you've got a pulse, you're playing. The Kangaroo Island Football League, that's a hugely important part of the social lives for everybody in such a hugely remote place as Kangaroo Island with such a small population, and across the outer regions of the state, all those clubs play such an important role. They're having some big party in Peterborough as well in the mid-north. Mods is going. Mods and Mally together.
Well, Mods will raise spirits.
He will.
There's growing concern about what in the hell's happening on our beaches and in our oceans, given what appears to be another area affected or another incident featuring this algal bloom that saw a couple of weeks ago a whole bunch of dead fish and sea life wash up on beaches on the Fleurieu. Well, millions of pippies and fish have washed up on the peninsula as well, around Victor Harbour. The York Peninsula has seen evidence of this. There was a mass fish kill event last week on Island Beach. Now, more testing has to be done. Nature would suggest you naturally connect this to the algal bloom that started all this a few weeks ago, but work needs to be done. Have a listen to Dr. David Cunliffe from SA Health.
Been quite a lot of reports of people experiencing allergic type responses, including sore eyes, respiratory symptoms, including coughs, and this is due to contact with algal particles. Algae are being sent up into the air in ocean sprays, and you also get bits of algae because the algae is actually a little bit fragile. So when the surf hits it, it breaks up and you get smaller particles which are easier to breathe in.
Now, there's been a bit of distress around heading into Easter. A beach is going to be closed and whatnot. Well, we started to get a sense yesterday that our local fishing industry is going to feel the pinch on this, and there are some real concerns about what it might mean for both commercial and rec fishers. Asher Desiree from Recfish SA joins us now on 5AA Breakfast. Asher, good morning to you.
Good morning. How are you?
Yeah, we're good. What's your level of concern with these incidents that seem to keep popping up at the moment?
Yeah, it's obviously pretty concerning. We're worried about the long-term wider impact across the state. The visually confronting things are areas such as Goolwa, where you've got piles and piles of dead cockles and things like that. But we really want to understand what's going on beneath the surface as well, and obviously get to the bottom of what's causing it in combination with algae or instead of algae, or we really want to get to the bottom of what's doing it.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask, Asher, because you guys would have much better insights into this than people like Will and I who don't really, spend any time out on the water. What's your take on the causes, and what have you been told?
So originally the first fish kills around Waipenga were put down to this algal bloom. It's called Mickey Motoi. There's a particular type of algae that's released. A particular type of acid that's released from the algae, and that's what causes all of the health effects and issues. So that was the original case, and we're still waiting pathology back from FIVEAA regarding the most recent ones. However, yesterday Recfish SA sent off independent samples that Recfish members collected, and we'll get our own samples as well at the same time. So it's just a race to see what exactly is going on, what's killing these fish, and how far widespread it is.
Just in terms of the types of different fish species that are being affected, have you sort of seen evidence that is it across the board?
So strangely, originally in Kangaroo Island, our Recfish SA board member Gavin was down there, and he noticed that there was particular age cohort structures and particular species that were dying first. And it was largely benthic organisms, which is, fish that live on the bottom or organisms that live in the sand and mud. And, you can put it down to the fact that most species have different toxicity thresholds. So some species are better at handling disease or toxins better than others. So the weaker ones obviously die first. And we saw these flushes of first it was flathead, and then it was cockles, and then it was stingray species. So it's sort of running through the ranks, but strangely no pelagic fish, which live on the surface, and they obviously move like tuna and salmon and things like that. So nothing like that yet. But in Edithburgh there have been some things like Tommy Ruff. So we're really doing all we can. On Thursday we've got a whole raft of volunteer divers who will be doing a reef audit off Victor Harbour to assess what exactly the impact of the fish kill is underwater. It's a really, really important citizen science project because we're understanding that, just because it hasn't washed up on the beach doesn't mean it's not dead. And we really want to know the impact to lobster and abalone and things like that. From our understanding, no one's gone that far. So Recfish SA have stepped up to make sure that things like that are being done so we understand the whole picture.
We might check back in with you next week after
definitely.
You've got the results of all that. Fascinating chat, Asher.
And if anyone wants to be involved in that, just get in touch with the Seawolves Dive Club, and we'll be organising boats and things like that for volunteer divers to go out. But really, really important citizen science projects are going on, and this is well and above what a state government response could possibly be. There's a lot of moving parts to organise things like this. And obviously a huge amount of expense. So for citizen scientists to do it, it's a volunteer arrangement, and there's no cost. So I think it costs us, a little bit of fuel, and that's it. And we're getting vital information for the environment.
Good weather to do it too. If you're a keen swimmer and interested in helping out, it's
if the weather was better today or tomorrow, it'd be today or tomorrow. But Thursday seems to be the best swell and wind, so that's when it'll be.
Fascinating. Good on you, Asher. Asher Deseri there from Recfish SA.
19 minutes after 7. Just one little more tidbit of information before we go to our traffic and come back with sport in just a moment. There's a bit of buzz getting around. In fact, it's more than buzz. It's being actively priced into markets right now that there could be a significant singular and multiple Reserve Bank cash rate drops before the end of the year because of what's happening on our markets in the US.
Obviously, at the next meeting?
At the next meeting.
Well, Chalmers was trying to sort of almost lock him in yesterday, wasn't he?
Well, Jim Chalmers said there will be up to 4 cuts this year.
He said the next cut might be 0.5. It's not up to him.
It's not up to him, but the market at various points in the last day has said the most likely outcome is a 50 basis point cut. So that's double the normal interest. That's a supersized cut. It's double what we normally get.
So why are they doing this when they've been so reluctant to do it because of inflation? Are they now worried about the opposite, which is the economy just tanking?
That's right.
So they want people to feel like they're still able to spend?
Because of the tariffs, the global economy slowing down, Australian exporters being hit. There's real concern that there'll be a slowdown. And unemployment will rise, and you need to stimulate economic activity. The counterpoint to this is if the Australian dollar's in the 50s, that will be inflationary. So they've got to juggle that at the moment. But if you listen to people like Adam Dawes, from KPMG, you get a sense that this is very much on the table.
But it could be 2, maybe 3, even 4 interest rate cuts this year for the RBA. Now, we were obviously saying that, potentially they might do 1 or 2, but everything has now been sped up, and everything because of what's happening overseas. We are looking for the RBA to really get on the front foot.
4.5% the average super hit for Australians over the course of the last 3 trading days. The ASX 200 fallen more than 10% since the start of the year. We're going to check traffic and come back with more in just a moment. Think about selling your commercial property and need advice? We'll talk to the experts at RWC Adelaide. Visit rwcadelaide.com.
G'day, well, not looking too bad for the run-in today. Got a breakdown to look out for Clearland, the freeway uptrack just before the Crafers exit. But not seeing too many delays through there. Do have works to keep in mind at Camden Park, Anzac Highway in Morford Road, and got speeds at 40 Virginia for works at the moment. Anglevale Road near Maloney Road. Busy South Road, Edwardstown with a camera this morning, so Donald Rapid Drive at Brooklyn Park. A traffic update? That's useful. A company that provides electricity, gas and internet? That's all kinds of useful. Origin, all kinds of useful. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA Mornings with Graham Goodings.
Gather round. You don't even have to love footy to get caught up in the feel of Gather Round. Excitement is certainly building. It's great to see, and all the preparations are done. What is it going to do for the economy?
Last year it delivered over $91 million into the state's economy, which is just exceptional.
Graham Goodings.
It looks like we're up over 12% on last year's figures.
That's great news.
Weekday mornings from 9 on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
Right Price, Adelaide's best in heating and cooling, has risen to new heights. Literally, Right Price are now your roofing people too. Same exceptional service, value and quality. From total roof replacement, including tiled roof installation, to tile roof repairs, cleaning and painting. And for peace of mind, a rock-solid quote. So the only surprise you'll get is how magnificent your roof and home looks. Do it right. Visit rightpriceroofing.com.au.
You can get your roof right at Right Price.
Hi, Brett Ebert here for Mawson Lakes Mazda. We've been doing deals on a huge range of 2024 plate Mazdas, and we've just received truckloads more of them, all priced to clear. These drive-away deals on new Mazdas include free 12 months rego, free stamp duty, and accessory packs worth $500. Yep, absolutely free. All exclusive to Mawson Lakes Mazda. No gimmicks, just great deals. Mawson Lakes Mazda, Salisbury Highway, T's and C's apply.
Imagine waking up in a home designed for luxury living, where every day brings the opportunity for a morning swim, state-of-the-art wellness amenities, and evenings spent with friends.
So I'm at the age where we'll have to start paying more close attention to these ads. Retirement isn't about slowing down, it's about living on your own terms. Living Choice has created luxury homes. These places are unbelievable. Premium resort-style amenities like an indoor pool, gymnasium, cinema, wellness rooms, and people are everything, so they've fostered a vibrant community for you.
At Living Choice, there are no rigid timetables, just the freedom to enjoy each day your way. Instead, you'll discover a community of like-minded individuals who believe retirement is about living life to the fullest. Make your choice Living Choice. For locations throughout SA, go to livingchoice.com.au.
For those whose pool is the main feature of their yard, Walco offer a special mesh cover to keep debris and leaves out, while making your pool area look stunning all through winter. Join the great cover-up and ask Walco about their stylish new mesh pool covers. Walco.com.au. When you're gone, who gets the things most precious to you? Like your grandfather's war medals, or your mother's cherished piano that was passed down to you. If you don't have a will, you'll never know. Donlan Lawyers specialise in wills and estate planning. From the simplest to the most complex, Donlan Lawyers will give effect to your wishes. For wills and estate planning, visit donlanlawyers.com, Hindmarsh Square, Adelaide, and Ocean Street, Victor Harbour. donlanlawyers.com.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
Hyundai Prius is on now with great deals on new and demo models. Visit Hyundai.com.au.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
25 after 7. This is a great initiative. There's a whole bunch of South Australian school students travelling to Malta this month to participate, alongside students from New Zealand and Malta, in an Anzac Malta coastal rowing competition commemorating Malta's crucial support of Anzac forces during the First World War. They're, of course, going to be, there'll be an Anzac service and so forth as well. What an experience for these kids.
I'll say, Saudi Malta is stunning.
It looks beautiful. Scarlett is one of those South Australians representing Australia as part of this wonderful rowing competition. Her Scarlett and her mother Shannon are both on the line now. Scarlett and Shannon, good morning to you.
Good morning. Good morning.
How exciting! So, Scarlett, we'll start with you. How did all this come about? How did your school end up getting involved?
So, a gentleman named John Collegia actually started this initiative in 2023. This will be the second trip that our school's gone on, and we got the great opportunity to be the school going on this trip. On the last trip and on this trip, we've worked with him to do fundraising and make awareness of what we're doing. And yeah.
That's sensational.
It must feel different laying a wreath at an Anzac service when you're in a place like Malta where the Anzacs served with the assistance of the Maltese, Scarlett.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really great experience to just show our appreciation. And also, there are some people who've had Nord connection. So Private Gordon Brewer and Private James Lawrence Murray have both had connections with Nord and were badly wounded in Gallipoli and died in Malta. So it's really important for us to just show our appreciation for them. And yeah.
And also the other part of this, Scarlett, is you're trying to, with the High Commission of Australia over there, rebuilding Australia Hall, which is a place where the Aussie troops would go for respite during World War I. I know nothing about that. It sounds fascinating.
Yeah, so Australia Hall was built by the Australian Red Cross, and it was a base and a medical hub during World War I. So Malta had a really strong alliance with the Anzac troops in World War I, and it's really important for us to take a look at Australia Hall and show awareness for it. And yeah.
That's amazing.
But Shannon, the trip needs a bit of support, it sounds like.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, with these sort of trips, it does cost money, and so the kids have actually self-funding to go over there. So obviously there's flights, there's accommodation. We're also having some uniforms so that the kids are all represented there, as well as the New Zealand and the Maltese students as well.
Shannon, I've got to say, how funny is it that I interviewed you in 1992 when I was a cadet journalist and you were at Findon High School?
I know. Scarlett was mortified when I told her I'd been interviewed by the advertiser at the time. So yeah.
and now it's her turn. That's just hilarious.
Yeah, absolutely. And we just won't say exactly how old we were back then, but yeah,
I know.
absolutely.
Pretty weird though. Where have those last 3+ decades gone? It's crazy.
I know, it goes in a flash, doesn't it?
Yeah. Now you're there with your daughter. Crazy. Well, look, you had a terrific trip, the pair of you. What a beautiful... So do you go to Valletta?
Yeah, we've got a number of tours and cultural sites that we'll visit, obviously organised by sort of the different organisers of the group, and a big shout out to Emily Layden, who's organised this as the coach for the Australian kids going over.
How good. What a great place to go. You'll have the time of your life. Shannon and Scarlett heading off to Malta for the Anzac Malta Coastal Rowing Competition. What a great event.
I love it. What a terrific initiative, and teaching people about a bit of Australian
so much fun.
Service history as well.
Coastal rowing too.
Well,
you're out there in the sea.
Be amazing. Malta looks beautiful, and an important bit of Australian history as well. You can get, for more information, if you want to support them, you can go to anzacregatta.com.
Pastizzis. They're from Malta. You ever eaten a pastizzi?
No.
Oh, unreal.
Okay, 5AA News is coming up in just a moment. A little hint. In fact, let's not do hints. Let's not be coy. If you want to go to Gather Round, call right now on 8223 0000. On the other side of the break, you're going to pick from 3 questions if you're the first caller through. Footy, food or fun. You get that simple question correct, you're going to Gather Round with a 4-day pass. 8223 0000.
Hop to it.
Or 0055. Get calling right now. Other side of the break, someone's going to Gather Round.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Partly cloudy, 23 today with the 7:30 news. I'm Matthew Pantelis.
Physio Extra offers Locomat and Armio robotic technology services at their Marion and Eastwood clinics. physioextra.com.
There are delays on the Nullarbor plain after a serious crash on the air highway. Senior Constable Kimberly Broad says the accident occurred at 6 a.m.
About 6 o'clock this morning that police received a report of a serious crash involving a truck and car on the air highway on the Nullarbor. The crash is about 75 k's from the Western Australian border.
The Reserve Bank could cut the official cash rate 4 times this year as a result of Donald Trump's sweeping tariffs on US imports. The Australian share market lost almost $100 billion yesterday, falling to its worst level since 2020. Meantime, President Trump has held his first in-person tariff negotiation with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu inside the Oval Office. More from Nine's US correspondent Lauren Tomasi.
For markets and leaders around the world, there was a question of what, if any, flexibility Donald Trump would have when it comes to his sweeping tariffs today. The US president said he's not looking to pause the newly implemented duties, but he is open to negotiation. Today, Israel's Benjamin Netanyahu became the first world leader to hold tariff talks inside the Oval Office, where he told Trump his country would eliminate the trade deficit with the US. Trump, however, declined to say if he would amend tariffs in return. The White House says countries around the world are now in line to negotiate with Donald Trump as uncertainty continues to send the markets into a spin.
The irony for farmers who are suffering through drought is the flooding in the far northeast of SA as rainwater from New South Wales and Queensland heads towards Lake Eyre. Inaminka soon to be cut off with waters rising rapidly. The Strzelecki track is closed to all but essential traffic. Trav and Laura recently purchased the Inaminka Hotel, and on 5AA Breakfast a short while ago, Trav says people there are in good spirits.
The SES are up here at the moment. There's about 15 guys up here. So, yeah, the morale's pretty high, surprisingly. But, yeah, no, everyone's pretty positive. They did a cracking job on the levee last night. They worked up till like midnight last night. And I think they're out there again pretty soon, making sure we're all going to be safe.
The state government has announced a $55 million drought relief package for SA farmers. Primary Industries Minister Claire Scriven says the money comes on top of $18 million announced in November and will help with things like freight costs, vehicle registration rebates, pest control, including ruse, and mental health support.
The Premier and I, of course, have been talking with farmers throughout this period. The Premier hosted a roundtable just last week, which was able to further provide insight into what it is that farmers and regional communities need. So we're very pleased with the input from all the various farming sectors.
A driver lost his car and his licence after allegedly drink driving at Elizabeth Vale at midnight. Police travelling on Main North Road, they saw the Kia sedan driving slowly at about 50 k's an hour in an 80 zone and swerving within the lane. Police stopped the car, submitting the driver to a breath test. The 27-year-old from Manopara West allegedly recorded a blood alcohol reading of 0.107. He was reported for drink driving, issued with a 6-month instant loss of licence. His car impounded 28 days. A redesign of the $5 note has cost taxpayers more than $500,000. The plan to replace the image of Queen Elizabeth II with an Indigenous artwork has been criticised by the opposition as a wasteful pet project. Australian Monarchist League campaign chairman Erica Betts says the new design should have included nods to both sides of our history.
I would encourage the government and the Reserve Bank to embrace both our Indigenous and our colonial history on the $5 note with King Charles and Aboriginal art.
And the man himself, King Charles, has arrived in Italy for an official state visit, his first overseas trip since being briefly hospitalised last week. Turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, style and safety to your home. Gliderol.com.au.
Man with a few fives in his wallet, Tom Wren, good morning.
Good morning to you as well, Matty. Port Adelaide is set to be without forward Darcy Byrne-Jones. That's for Sunday's gather-round clash against Hawthorn after he was offered a one-match ban for a bump on St Kilda's Ryan Burns. Meantime, more fines for Vice-Captain Zach Butters, meaning he's now close to totalling $50,000 worth of fines across his career up to date. Well, the Gold Coast Suns insist they're not going to be pushed around this season. Defender Mac Andrew drew criticism externally for his unsocial tactics in the win over the Crows. Star midfielder Sam Flanders says they don't mind being known as bad boys.
Yeah, obviously, grit is one of our, key words we sort of want to live by. So we show, obviously, Max showing grit in different ways to others, but to go along with the bad boys, that's what they used to do back in the day. So we're trying to bring as much of that to life as possible.
The Matildas have recorded another win against South Korea after recording a 2-0 result in Newcastle overnight. Meantime, in the English Premier League, Newcastle has made it 3 wins in a row, moving up to 5th on the table after beating Leicester 3-0. Aussie quick Josh Hazlewood has continued his hot start to the IPL season with 2 wickets to help his Royal Challengers Bengaluru to a 12-run win against the Mumbai Indians. Chasing 222 to win, the Mumbai Indians were giving it a real shake until Hazlewood took the key wicket of Hardik Pandya in the penultimate over.
Oh, this hasn't gone anywhere. Safely held, Josh Hazlewood when it matters.
Audio there thanks to Optus, and that is the 5AA Sport.
Having a look at the roads around Adelaide now.
Selling your commercial property for top dollar is made easier with the team at RWC Adelaide. Visit rwcadelaide.com.
Well, yeah, got a car fire causing you headaches this morning. As you'd expect, this one's at Cudler Main North Road near Dalkeith Road, seeing delays inbound. A couple of breakdowns to keep in mind. One at Hendon, Old Port Road near Tapley's Hill Road. Another one at Clearland at the freeway uptrack just before the Crafers exit. No great delays through that one, though. And look out for works at Hallett Cove. They always get slow. Lonsdale Road near Perry Bar Road, speeds at 40. Camera 2 this morning, Main North Road at Enfield. Live way better with Nature's Way thanks to Chemist Warehouse. Right now, Nature's Way vitamins are half price at Chemist Warehouse. Yes, half price. Be quick. Silence Wednesday. Adelaide's most accurate traffic. On 5AA.
5AA's forecast.
For your next conference, charity gala or any type of function, make it a superstar experience at Adelaide Entertainment Centre.
A couple of cloudy days for Adelaide. Today 23, tomorrow 25. The sun out just in time for gather round. 31 Thursday, 29 Friday, low 30s into the weekend. Right now 14. 5AA, always Adelaide.
Paris Scarf mid-season sale is on now. Save 40 to 60% off cookware and kitchenware, 40 to 60% off glassware and cutlery, and 40 to 60% off air fryers by Smith & Noble and Healthy Choice. Hurry, sale ends soon. Exclusions apply. Paris Scarf, great brands, great prices.
Now this is a fine drop, a rare beauty. The nose is balanced and versatile, offering something for every occasion. The palette is complex, curated for both connoisseurs and casual enthusiasts alike. And there's the unmistakable presence of generations dedicated to the craft, with an impressive vintage of 50 years. The name on the label is FIVEAA. 3 generations celebrating 50 years. FIVEAA, your local independent SA family liquor store since 1975.
They say you shouldn't mix business with pleasure, but they clearly haven't been to the AFL Gather Round Business Lunch. This event brings together the AFL industry and the South Australian business community, offering the chance to celebrate footy while networking for your business.
This year's lineup of speakers includes AFL CEO Andrew Dillon, Premier Peter Malinauskas, and AFL talent and media personalities including Patrick Dangerfield, Rory Sloane, Kate McCarthy and Nathan Buckley.
Tickets include seated dining with a delicious 2-course meal, a 3.5-hour drinks package, exclusive guest speakers, networking opportunities and an official 2025 Gather Round souvenir.
Don't miss the AFL Gather Round Business Lunch on Friday, April 11 at the Adelaide Convention Centre. Get your tickets now at afleventoffice.com.au.
Hi, I'm Lynn Andrews. The Lynn Andrews team have seen a lot of change in real estate over the past 50 years, but one thing remains unchanged: our passion to help people invest in their future. To build strong property portfolios in either the residential or the commercial sectors. Our commitment to property investment over the years means we have a wealth of knowledge to share. We're here to help you. Visit lynnandrews.com.au.
The most frustrating thing about having your car repaired after a collision can be the wait. Sometimes months. At Premier Panel Services, the wait is one thing you won't have to worry about. We've expanded our workshop and our highly skilled team. It means we're better equipped to deliver an outstanding outcome for you and your car. RAA and MTA approved, Premier Panel Services work with most insurance companies. So ask for Premier Panel Services and get back on the road sooner.
Wayville Hyundai's 2024 stock clearance is on now. Every new 2024 Hyundai is priced to clear. No waiting, no delays. You can drive away today. Did you know you can always get your car in quicker for a service at Wayville Hyundai? Enjoy peace of mind knowing you're in the best hands with our expert service team. Ask about our service now, pay later options. Change the way you Hyundai at Wayville Hyundai, opposite the showground at 11 Goodwood Road.
Hyundai Prius is on now with great deals on new and demo models. Visit Hyundai.com.au.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
20 minutes to 8. Sounds like there's another traffic jam on the freeway down track. One lane closed at the moment, we're being told. The right lane closed just above the tunnels. It's down to 40. We're awaiting more information as to what the cause is there. So if you're in the area and you've got eyes on it, let us know on 8223 0000. Gather Round Fever is here. There's no doubt about that. We are going to be live from the Macca's Footy Festival on Friday morning. That's going to be a lot of fun. It'll be more fun if the Crows win on Thursday night. So you can come and see us at Elder Park, all thanks to Macca's. The Minecraft movie Happy Meal is here. Build your world with 12 limited edition toys that the whole family will love. Get yours at Macca's, limited time only. All right.
Looking forward to that.
Let's give away some Gather Round tickets, shall we? Because we've got the board jam-packed with people who want to be part of the action and get along with a 4-day pass to all the games at Adelaide Oval. Dave in Fulham is the first caller on the line. Morning to you, Dave.
Morning.
Now, Dave, you get to pick from the categories footy, food or fun. Which category would you like?
I like my food. Let's go food.
All right, food.
Good choice.
Dave, there's a cafe out the front of Adelaide Oval, right next to the southern entrance and plaza. Do you know what that cafe is called?
Oh, that's hard.
Yes, it's Coffee Inc.
Wasn't so hard at all.
Yeah.
Are you a regular there, Dave?
I go and watch the Crows down there, and I go past there, and I noticed that because I don't like coffee. I thought that's a bad name
So
for a
you
coffee.
don't like coffee, but you got the coffee shop question right. We thought no one was going to get
Dave, that is unbelievable.
Well, Dave, you're off to Gather Round, mate.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you.
All the games, mate. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You can basically sit there at the Adelaide Oval for 72 hours having the time of your life.
And not drinking coffee.
No, I might go and get a hot chocolate from there.
Well,
good on you, Dave.
That's the least you can do after winning that prize, mate.
Well, that
good
was
on you.
superb. Congratulations, Dave.
What a legend.
Lucy's face, she thought, there's no way this question's going off. We'll get through a few callers here. Turns out Dave knows his coffee shops.
Nailed it.
Don't despair, folks. There is another chance to win a double 4-day pass before 9 o'clock.
The good news is you won't be going head-to-head against Dave.
Exactly
right.
He
knows his stuff.
All right, let's head to Canberra.
So too does Phil Curry.
Phil Curry, the political editor of the Australian Financial Review, joins us. Morning to you, Phil.
Morning, fellas. How are we?
We're good, thanks, Phil. How are you going, mate?
Oh, just looking at my superannuation.
so not good then,
aren't we? Like everyone's going like Carlton. Yeah.
Surely not that bad.
Exactly. AFL umpires. Yeah.
Oh, don't get us started.
How are we?
Yeah, good. We had Peter Dutton in the studio yesterday, Phil, where he kicked it off by saying they'd made a mistake. It's never a good thing to do in the middle of an election campaign, is it?
No, you don't often see it in the campaign. You usually, as we always go back to John Howard because he seemed to get a lot of things right. But remember, you had that saying, you get rid of the barnacles before you call the election or before the campaign, not in the middle of it. And, this work from home thing was, look, there's a sort of reason behind it. I mean, there's a lot of people in Canberra who don't do a lot of work, and the public sector does have, you can have 5 days at home if you like. And there's a problem there that needs to be addressed because there's not a lot getting done in some departments, and it's a real problem with the functioning of government. But the way they sort of went at it, without much nuance and with a bit of a sledgehammer, and it didn't take much for Labor to start a scare campaign saying won't be just the public service, it'll be everybody, and it just turned off women voters who were already a bit sketchy on Dutton, and the whole thing just turned into a calamity pretty quickly. And backbenchers were reporting, people upset about it. It was showing up in their research and everything else, so they had to, effect a dismount, elegant or otherwise, which they did on Sunday.
Yeah.
Is this the debate tonight, Phil? suddenly really important for Peter Dutton? Or is he at the stage now of the campaign where it's going to take a spectacular misstep from Anthony Albanese to wrestle back some of this momentum?
I think probably more the latter, Will.
Yeah.
The trouble is with the debate tonight. No disrespect to my colleagues next door, but it's on Sky News. Not a lot of people are going to watch it.
Sure.
Right? So there's one next week on the ABC Wednesday night, just before Easter. I think that'll be, in terms of viewership, a lot more people watching it. But it will still be important tonight because we'll all be sort of reporting on it and writing about it. And if anyone makes a mistake or scores a hammer blow, it will be broadcast nationally. Look, Dutton just has to win every day. He just needs wins, and he's clearly now behind. The momentum shift just ever since that 3 weeks before when Albanese cancelled the election due to the storms in Brisbane, and the opposition seemed to lose their way then. And I think you picked it, Will, when we were talking back then about the effect, the Trump effect. It just started to really creep up on him, and now it's like a wildfire and it's killing him. And they just can't seem to get anything going, and they're not very well prepared on policy. Every time they announce something, it tends to unravel or not go far, and they're just getting completely outplayed on the politics. Labor's just smashing them on the politics, the day-to-day, the memes and all the three-word slogans and all that sort of stuff, which shouldn't matter, but it does. And they're in a bit of a spin at the moment, and I noticed the bookmakers have finally caught up, with reality. About 6 weeks ago, they were offering $15 at Sportsbet on a Labor majority. It's now down to $3, and I think that's much more realistic.
A Labor majority, you mean Labor governing in its own right, Phil?
Yeah, without a minority now. So, and I think that's where we're looking again. We started the campaign with the two options was Labor minority or coalition minority. I think it's now back to Labor majority or Labor minority. They're the two most likely outcomes as we sit here and speak. We don't know what's going to happen in the next 3 weeks. And that's just the way it's trending. There was a news poll yesterday in the Australian which had the same numbers pretty much that we had at the last federal election, which gave Labor a small majority. So it's now back in play very much.
How do you see the next few weeks panning out, Phil? Because with the interruption of Easter and all that, there's going to be a lot of days where politics is going to be the furthest thing away from people's minds.
Yeah, 100%. Look, they're calling it in the major parties a dumbbell election because of Easter. I mean, people really do switch off over Easter. It's not like Australia Day weekend or something where you just take a day off and you go back to work. It's the last serious holiday you get to have.
It might even be more pronounced this year with Anzac Day the following Friday and that 3 day
taking a week off. Yeah. And this suits Albanese now because he just has to. He's coasting. I was watching him yesterday. He is so confident, cocky almost, but chalk and cheese compared to his last election campaign where it was hopeless. And he just has to not have as you said, any big major slip-ups, and he doesn't look like he's going to. Famous last words. But Easter advantages him because everyone's just going to switch off for a week, right? And then polling, pre-poll voting starts straight after Easter, and it'll be pretty much. Makes it harder for Dutton to come back. He's got less time to play with, and just for example, like the parties do their big launches, and Labor's is on Sunday, this coming Sunday in Perth, and we're hearing the Liberals are going to do it on the same day. Now they're sort of saying it's because they don't have a lot of other options because Easter's squeezed everything. But why would you do it on the same day? At best, you're going to neutralise. You're not going to win, and they need to win days.
You're going to be taking part in any of these debates yourself, Phil? Are you going to be there firing tough questions at anyone? Or?
Oh, mate, watch out. No,
what about that time you and I went to meet the press together when Natasha was leader of the Democrats? That was a fun Sunday, wasn't it?
People still talking about that, Dave.
What, you mean like you and me?
Yeah. Well, I couldn't remember it, so you just reminded me. Look, I'd like to be on a debate. I've never done one, but it depends because obviously I don't work. No, they don't like me. Last time I had COVID, so Labor gave me COVID at their launch, so I didn't get. So they've agreed to two. There's the Sky News one tonight, and then there's ABC next week. So obviously I don't work for either of them, but Channel 9, who's our boss company now, if the last debates have raced between us and Channel 7, so if nine wins, then I'll sort of talk my way onto that panel with Charles Croucher and
Eddie Maguire. Sam Newman.
Kane Corns.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. He'll have a few zinger takes on it all.
I can take it or leave it. I don't know.
Excellent, mate.
Yeah, anyway, it's all good.
It certainly is. Good on you, mate. Thank you. Phil Curry, the National Political Editor for the Financial Review.
In the criminal justice system, all defendants are innocent until proven guilty, either by confession, plea bargain, or trial by jury. This is one of those trials.
Well, this was the moment on the weekend that's prompted outrage in football circles here in South Australia, and something of a controversial solution that's been championed by Tom Wren liked it this morning. I see Sam Tugwell's been commentator here, has been tweeting about it. There's been others too that have had their say. Now Pete Lincoln drive Adelaide inside 50 into the pocket at the back. Rankin, he spilled it. The umpire says play on. You're kidding. Rankin appeals to the umpire panel, picked it up. Hewlin gets his head taken off, and he's going to get the free kick. Well, we want to have a look at that on the replay.
Oh, that's a mark.
Yeah, well, so the umpire agreed with Campo and Rowe in the end there. It was a mark or a free kick. So the question is this. Should there be a coach's challenge in the AFL? Should Matthew Nix or whoever the coach be in that moment be able to slap a light that goes on at the ground and the umpire blows his whistle and they go over to the monitor and have a look? You get one a game. Would you like...
Just one?
Well, however many. Should you get one... Should there be a coach's challenge in the AFL, yes or no? We will put this to the test. Would you actually like to see that be part of the AFL? Get calling now for the jury on 8223 0000, and you could win a $100 Samtas seafood voucher. As simple as that. Tell us yes, no to the coach's challenge in the AFL. One phone call, and it could win you $100 worth of Samtas seafood. Get calling right now. Coach's challenge in the AFL. Would you like to see it? Fix the game, or would it ruin it? Let's check traffic first. When you cover things, they last longer. The same goes for you. Be sun smart. Check UV levels daily.
Thanks. We've got a car fire to look out for at Main North Road, at Dalkeith Road at Cudler there, breakdown at Hendon, Old Port Road near Tapley's Hill Road, and another breakdown at Clearland Freeway uptrack just before the Crayfords exit, but no great delays through there. Works at Glenelg East is slow, Brighton Road near Dunbar Terrace, and got a camera Prospect Road at Prospect. Fantastic Furniture Spend and Save is on now. Spend 500, save 60. Spend 1,000, save 150. Spend 2,000, save 400. In-store or online, T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Last month, we serviced around 11,000 vehicles, more than 3,000 Toyotas, Camrys, Corollas, Land Cruisers, 2,000 Mitsubishis, Tritons, Outlanders, Pajeros, over 500 VWs. That's right, over 11,000 people trusted us with their pride and joy. Automasters, isn't it time for you to switch and save? Call 1300 Automasters or book online. All centres offer repair now, pay later options. So switch and save with Automasters. Great service guaranteed.
Get a Toyota forklift. Deliver more with Toyota, the world's #1 forklift brand. Choose from a great range including pallet jacks, walkie stackers and reach forklifts, right up to their leading Toyota counterbalance forklifts. Legendary reliability and safety with cleaner, greener electric options. Toyota can tailor the right forklift solution for you. It's all part of the Toyota Forklift Advantage. For more, visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au. Get a Toyota forklift.
Leon Boner here. Do hot summers and cold winters have you stressed about how much energy it'll cost you to live in comfort? With a solar battery installed by NRG Solar, you don't have to worry. Use your own energy, day or night, for total comfort without the bill shock. Say goodbye to energy bill anxiety and hello to worry-free power all year round. Live comfortably with NRG Solar. Call 1300 858 160 today.
Hi, Daniel Talia here, General Manager of Home. That's HAUME. Put simply, we buy homes. If you've received a letter from us in your mailbox, don't throw it away. You may be throwing away a golden opportunity to sell your home at market value. With zero effort, advertising fees or commissions, you'll save thousands of dollars. If you've received a letter from us, it means we're serious about buying your home. For more info, visit home.com.au. That's HAUME.com.au.
When you think of Adelaide Entertainment Centre, you think of this or this. But we also host corporate conferences,
welcome our guest speaker,
charity galas, and functions of all shapes and sizes, with unique spaces shared by superstars and limited by only your imagination. Events at Adelaide Entertainment Centre are like no other. Make your next event a superstar experience. Visit Adelaide Entertainment Centre's website.
Last month, around 11,000 people trusted us with their pride and joy. Automasters, logbook servicing, repairs, brakes, aircon and more. Isn't it time for you to switch and save? Call 1300 Automasters. Great service guaranteed.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Hyundai Prius is on now with great deals on new and demo models. Visit Hyundai.com.au.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
5 to 8 if you're just tuning in. Gather round tickets have gone off this hour. We've got more next hour, so make sure you stay listening. And we've got a footy-inspired jury.
In the criminal justice system, all defendants are innocent until proven guilty, either by confession, plea bargain, or trial by jury. This is one of those trials.
Obviously, controversy regarding the Isaac Rankin non-decision on the weekend and the Crows' 1-point loss to Gold Coast dominated talk back in the early part of this week. It's led to an increasing number of advocates for the coach's challenge in the AFL. So we're going to put that concept to the jury test this morning. Let's go to juror number one. Juror number one, coach's challenge, yay or nay?
It's a yes, Will. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I think the coaches should have that one, even 1 1/4. I think will be terrific as long as they can get a quick 15-second response. If you don't use it in that one, quarter by quarter, that's it. But you've got the option of using it. And if the free kick is inside 50 metres, you'd like to think the team that's hard done by might get a chance to score.
Thank you, juror number one. Let's go to juror number two. What say you?
I completely agree. I should declare a conflict of interest. I'm a Crows supporter here, but I think there should be a big red button on the desk like Trump's Diet Coke button. And when they slam their fist on the big red button, they get fireworks going off, and then you know that the coach has pushed it. So
it could be quite exciting, couldn't it?
Thank you, juror number two. Juror number three, good morning. You there, juror number three?
Okay. Oh, sorry.
That's
some
right.
dramas then, sorry. Yes, I am with, sorry. Yeah. So, sorry, just specifically, what do I actually got to point out here? What I think the problem is?
No,
solution?
Just a simple yes or no.
Yes or no. Do you like the idea of the coach's challenge?
Yes, but I think there are maybe a better idea. But yes, 100%, it would be 1 1/4, I think would be fantastic.
Okay, juror number three, thank you. Let's go to Littlehampton. Juror number four, yes or no?
I would go yes. Like the juror number two, I don't think you need a light. You would need some sort of noise alarm, and I thought the perfect one would be Rowi's voice shouting out right in front of me.
Yeah, I think that would add a level of excitement. Take you, juror number four. Juror number five, good morning.
How do you do? Absolutely and unreservedly. I've had enough of this rubbish.
Thank you, juror number five.
This is emphatic.
Yeah, it really
Haven't
is.
had a no
It
yet.
surprises me, this. Juror
Yeah,
number
me
six,
too.
good morning. You there, juror number six?
Hello, how you going, lads? I think that the lights should be the entire boundary line where the ads go should just go red with a big cross. And if Stephen Rowe had his way, I think he'd have his own personal button which would be connected to an electric shock treatment that all the umpires would get whenever he pressed it. That would probably be his idea.
The Rowi's challenge. I think that's even might be more popular than the coach's challenge. See, my fear with this is how do you stop? Team gets a run on late in the game. Let's say there's a turnover half bat. You hit the button to get make a spurious review to just stall the momentum of the game.
Doesn't that happen already in timeouts in basketball and stuff like that, though?
Of course it does. They do it deliberately. Yeah. But they're not in footy. One of the best things about footy is it's a continuously free-flowing game. That's I realise I'm suddenly in the massive minority when it comes to this position based on our jury.
I'm against it. Although I can see that the excitement of it. Like, imagine if, like, minute 23 to go on Saturday, Nixie, you see, the fist is down.
Yeah.
It would actually... I don't know. I could be persuaded.
Yeah, I'm not convinced.
Well, that's 6-zip, though.
6-zip. Who gets the $100 Samtas seafood voucher? Pick a number between 1 and 6.
Number two.
Number two. You got the $100 worth of Samtas seafood coming your way. Breaking at 8 coming up next. Eddie Maguire is going to be live in the studio here for Gather Round with the 9 Footy show this week, and then more tickets to every single game at Adelaide Oval will be given away by 9 o'clock this morning.
Let's see what's in the swear jar at Buy Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens. Here's one from Jasmine, the operations manager at Buy Urban and the driving force behind the success of all renovation projects. Jasmine swears to ensure all the trades arrive on time every time to ensure a seamless transition to your stunning Buy Urban bathroom. For a team that swears to deliver on quality and service, see Buy Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens, Adelaide's home renovation experts.
50 scorching summers, 50 freezing winters, and only one Morford Air helped us through it all. Adelaide's own homegrown family air conditioning company, Morford Air, has kept South Australians cool and warm for over 50 years. That's half a century of comfort. So when it's too hot or cold to bear, reach for the Morford Air. morfordair.com.au.
Morford Air.
The news and information that matters. This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Partly cloudy today, a top near 23 with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Matthew Pantelis.
Physio Extra for Locomat robotic technology treating stroke, cerebral palsy, brain and spinal cord injuries. Visit physioextra.com.
The state government's coming to the aid of SA farmers with a $55 million package to help with the drought. It comes as the state's experienced the drought conditions for the last year, culminating in summer being one of the driest on record. Primary Industries Minister Claire Scriven says the aid will cover a range of areas.
An additional $4 million to help charities with the freight costs for donated fodder, as well as immediate financial relief for rebates for emergency services levy and commercial vehicle registrations. We're also doing a lot in regards to the local communities around the rural small businesses so that they can also access assistance. And then some of the specific things like assistance with culling pest animals which are competing with livestock for their fodder.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is visiting the White House, becoming the first world leader to meet with Donald Trump following his aggressive tariff announcement last week, which includes a 17% tax on Israeli exports to the US. The Israeli PM saying they'll eliminate the trade deficit with America.
I said to the President a very simple thing. We will eliminate the trade deficit with the United States. We intend to do it very quickly. We think it's the right thing to do.
US President Donald Trump now threatening an additional 50% tariff on Chinese goods entering America, on top of existing levies if Beijing doesn't back down on its 34% trade deficit that they have put on American products coming into China. A 27-year-old man will face court and is without licence and car this morning after allegedly driving with a blood alcohol reading of 0.107 at Elizabeth Vale at midnight. Senior Constable Kimberly Broad says police spotted the car on Main North Road.
It grabbed their attention as it was travelling at about 50 in the 80k zone and was also swerving within its lanes.
Police are investigating a car fire at Plympton last night. Fire crews called to Myla Avenue at Plympton just after 8:30 with reports of the car on fire in a reserve. The Ford sedan completely destroyed by the blaze, which appears to have been deliberately lit. Crime scene investigators attended and examined the area. Investigations into the torching of the car are ongoing. In Melbourne, the spate of ram raids on high-end fashion houses has continued overnight. Reporter Madeline Burke says on the back of thousands of expensive handbags stolen from David Jones recently, another designer boutique in the CBD targeted by thieves in a failed smash and grab early this morning.
The shop front of the Fendi boutique on Collins Street has been smashed, but it appears the thieves left empty-handed. Shattered glass and pieces of metal has been left over the street, which is taped off by police, but the offenders failed to access thousands of dollars worth of clothing, bags and accessories inside the store, with the security shutters still intact. This morning's brazen attack comes 2 weeks after the nearby Dior boutique was again targeted in an early morning ram raid.
Almost 22,000 members of the Defence Force who are working in hard-to-fill jobs will receive a pay rise of up to $5,000. The Defence Force Remuneration Tribunal due to hand down its decision for ADF workers in intelligence, engineering, maintenance, construction, communications and cyber sectors. Defence Minister Richard Marles says around 37% of the ADF workforce will benefit.
These are
the trades, the jobs where we feel we need more people, where we're struggling to get some, and this will make a much more attractive offering to people out there to join the Defence Force, and obviously for those who are in those jobs now.
And Labor is pledging to invest an extra $1 billion in mental health support services if it returns to government in May. The funding will go towards opening 20 youth specialist care centres, providing critical support to young people outside hospitals. Turning to 5AA Sport.
Colours, custom design, any house, any style. Gliderol Garage Doors. Gliderol.com.au.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Matty. Port Adelaide's players will be back to work today at Alberton as they look ahead to their clash against Hawthorn on Sunday. The Power are set to be without forward Darcy Byrne-Jones, who's been offered a one-match ban for a bump on St Kilda's Ryan Burns. Crows coach Matthew Nicks will address the media a little later today as his side gears up for Thursday night's blockbuster clash against Geelong. That'll kick off Gather Round. Meantime, the AFL could extend the deal for South Australia to host Gather Round beyond 2027 as early as this weekend. Tasmania is looking at hosting the round in 2028. This season, the Devils are scheduled to play their first game. Well, the Matildas have shown their fans what they're capable of after a stunning 2-0 win over South Korea in Newcastle. Star Mary Fowler found the net just before half-time with a second goal coming from Caitlin Torpey in the second half. Coach Tom Samani says it was a dominant win.
Really delighted with the performance tonight. I thought we played some really incisive, dynamic football at times, and I think particularly in the second half.
Meantime, Newcastle are within touching distance of the top four in the EPL after a 3-0 win against Leicester, who look destined to be relegated. To golf, Monday practice has been suspended at the Masters due to poor weather at Augusta. However, conditions are expected to be good for the tournament, which begins on Thursday night our time. And Aussie Josh Giddey's impressive late-season forms continued, finishing with 23 points, 10 rebounds and 8 assists as the Chicago Bulls took care of Charlotte 131 to 117. And that's the 5AA Sport.
5AA's traffic.
Selling your commercial property for top dollar is made easier with the team at RWC Adelaide. Visit rwcadelaide.com.
There, crash to look out for a Crayfus West this morning. It's on the freeway down track just before the tunnels. Pretty big delays inbound at the moment. Also really big delays at the moment at Cudler. That's due to a car fire, Main North Road near Dalkeith Road. Quite slow, South Road, Edwardstown. Busy, Main North Road at Enfield with a camera Prospect Road at Prospect. Origin is making useful happen. From simplifying customer service to helping you go solar and everything in between. Origin, all kinds of useful. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA's forecast.
For your next conference, charity gala or any type of function, make it a superstar experience at Adelaide Entertainment Centre.
23 today, partly cloudy. Cloud tomorrow as well, a top near 25. And if you're from Queensland, it's perfect one day, beautiful the next. The sun returns for Gather Round, 31 Thursday, 29 on Friday, low 30s over the weekend. Right now, 15, 5AA, always Adelaide.
Mario Maiola Promotions and 5AA present Blowin' in the Wind, honouring Rock and Roll Hall of Famers Bob Dylan with friends Johnny Cash, Joan Baez and the Travelling Wilburys. Come celebrate the legends who contributed to cultural change through inspired lyrics and songs of revolution with an amazing cast. The times they're a-changing, folks, so don't think twice because it's all right. Blowin' in the Wind, Her Majesty's Theatre, Friday 23rd of May. Book now at Ticketek.
If you need to fix your pipes, call Precise. Call Precise. If your toilet's blocking up, call Precise. Call Precise. If your lights aren't turning on, or your hot water is gone, or a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Precise.
Precise Plumbing and Electrical. Call 1300 700 200. That's 1300 700 200. Precise Plumbing and Electrical. Local and experienced trade specialists.
Or a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Call Precise.
It can happen at any time, more often than you think. Suddenly, through illness or accident, you could lose the capacity to manage your financial or personal affairs. What happens next? Who makes medical or health decisions? Who controls the family trust? From the simplest to the most complex wills and estate plans, Donlan Lawyers will answer your questions and help carry out your wishes. For wills and estate planning, visit donlanlawyers.com, Hindmarsh Square, Adelaide, and Ocean Street, Victor Harbour.
Stay informed, get involved. 5AA, always Adelaide.
If today was your last day.
Hyundai Prius is on now with great deals on new and demo models. Visit Hyundai.com.au.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
9 minutes after 8, breaking 8 in a moment. Eddie Maguire not too far away. And more Gather Round tickets by 9 o'clock this morning. Footy, food or fun, it's what Gather Round's all about. If you can get a question correct by picking from one of those categories, we're going to send you off with the best tickets you're going to hear about anywhere this week. 4 days, all access pass to Adelaide Oval. We can catch all the games there. It's going to be a remarkable 4 days if you do win that prize by 9 o'clock today. Don't despair if you do miss out. We've got 2 more to give away tomorrow morning.
Looking forward to talking to Eddie Maguire. I always love our chats with Ed.
Ah, he's great.
Yeah, he's the real deal.
If you got,
he's a stirrer.
Yeah, well,
and you
he
want
says
people
what
like that.
he says what he thinks.
Yeah, exactly. But he's never sort of just someone who says things for the sake of it.
No.
He's not afraid to have an opinion. He's good.
There are still some Airbnbs available in Adelaide this week. Lucy's compiled a bit of a list, and it's interesting. But if you want 2 guests to stay, say you wanted to come in on Thursday and leave on Monday morning, so 4 nights, this is the sort of pricing you're looking at in Adelaide at the moment. So there's a guest house in St Peters for $2,600, an apartment in North Adelaide, $2,300, a home in Stepney that's essentially $3,000 for the 4 nights, a townhouse in Coralta Park for $2,161, apartment in the CBD on Weymouth Street for $2,715, $2,100 in Millswood, a guest house. Geez, I tell you what, you're doing a roaring trade if you've got a guest house in Adelaide this week.
How many of these belong to David Spears?
I think that's all of them. This is why he doesn't need to return. Is he going to make a political comeback?
I don't know. Well, we launched the David Spears Independent for Bright campaign on air. He just has to, rock up for the launch.
Yeah, I think the
proper launch.
That's why Anthony Green retired, because his models couldn't account for a Spears return for the seat of black.
Exactly.
He just taught his computer to melt down. Let's go breaking at 8.
Well, the big state political story today, obviously, is the fact that after quite a delay, the Malinowskis government has finally coughed up some significant money with an extra $55 million assistance package to help people on the land. To get a sense of how this is going down in rural SA, we're going to talk to a couple of people. First, Brad Perry, who's the CEO of Grain Producers SA, and then Gillian Fennell, who's the chair of Livestock SA, because there's a breaking story overnight involving beef that we want to climb into. But first, Brad, to you, as CEO of Grain Producers SA, what's your take on it? As I said at the start, it's been a long time coming, but it is significant money, isn't it?
Morning, David. Yeah, definitely. Look, we certainly welcome the package, and for us, it actually ticks most of the boxes on the things that we asked for support on behalf of grain producers.
What's the biggest challenge facing grain producers right now?
Oh, well, the fact is that we've got to make decisions on whether to sow or not for the season, based on a neutral model from the BOM and no rainfall. So, it's dry as anything out there at the moment.
And just in terms of things like, paying your ESL or Regos, is there enough assistance on that front, do you think?
Oh, look, I think that's a start. We also asked for council rate rebate incentives as well, but I think it's certainly welcome that they've listened to us on the ESL and the vehicle registration. Look, I think we've got to look at it as in this is a significant package. We welcome it, but it really depends as well on where we go from here and whether it rains or not.
Yeah, absolutely. All in the lap of the gods, quite literally. Thanks, Brad. We'll jump over to Gillian Fennell now, who is from Livestock SA. Gillian, we're really thrilled to talk to you because when Trump was making his announcement on the Thursday morning the other week, we were sitting here, and I'm sure you were doing exactly the same thing, trying to work out exactly what it meant for beef after he made those comments. Have you seen the remarks overnight out of the US, though, with the Senator for Wyoming, John Barrasso, saying that he thinks there should be a specific American campaign against Australian beef?
Yeah, look, he is an interesting character, to be sure, and there's a lot of interesting characters in US politics, as we're all well aware. You can campaign against the best beef in the world if you'd like, but I don't think it's going to get you very far because we are very good at what we do. we're very reasonably priced and we're very popular with consumers. So, all people will always back the horse called self-interest because it's the only one they have in the race. And there's obviously a really good reason he would like to see us exit the US market. But the fact is that they don't produce enough beef to feed themselves. And if you're going to buy beef in, why not buy it from the best producers in the world, which is Australia?
What about their complaint, though, about access to the Australian market? Is that something that Australian beef producers would die in a ditch over?
They probably would, to be completely honest, because we take biosecurity very, very seriously. And it's what gives us market access to all of our markets around the world. So I doubt that we are going to sacrifice our biosecurity credentials just to make them happy.
Just explain that a little bit further, Gillian, for our listeners that aren't necessarily across the risks involved. So if, as Donald Trump would like, we allowed unfettered access to US beef products into Australia, what's at risk? What could come here?
So they have a lot of, well, not a lot, but there are significantly risky diseases that they do have in America that we do not have in Australia, and we're very lucky, and we would like to really keep it that way. And that's the risk. So we do accept cooked beef products from the US, but we don't accept raw beef products because that's the risk, because if it's not cooked, it may contain traces of those diseases or bacteria that we don't want in Australia.
So is it almost like the sort of beef equivalent of our sort of island nation status, Gillian, where we take, quarantine issues so much more seriously on account of the unique sort of natural environment that we have here?
Yeah, it definitely is. And America likes to think of itself as an island, but they're not actually. They're a massive landmass that does join into South America, where they have a lot more prevalence of these sorts of diseases that would decimate our beef herd if it did make its way into Australia.
Well, there's heaps of things that come from, a lot of the really bad diseases come from Mexico. Like avian flu first started in a town in central Mexico, and a lot of pig diseases come from there too.
Yeah, and that's the risk that we don't want to run, because it's not just protecting our beef producers, but we're protecting all producers in Australia of all commodities, chicken, meat, pork, lamb, all of those sorts of things. We take these things very, very seriously, and we hang our hat on our strong biosecurity and our clean green image around the world. So I don't think we will sacrifice that just to make a few people in America happy.
Yeah, no, well, it's great to talk to you, Gillian. We'll stay in touch, because you're sort of Mrs. Beef in SA. Like, I was reading up about you online. In all seriousness, you happy with that nickname, Gillian?
Not exactly happy with that, but I've been called worse things, to be honest. So.
Next time we talk, I promise I'll have thought of a better moniker for you, Gillian. But I was trying to say you're a leader in your field. So, from everything I was reading about you on the website, so it's great to finally chat. And to Brad Perry at the start there as well. Thank you for joining us for Breaking It 8.
No worries. Thanks very much for having me on, guys. I appreciate it.
I think the important takeaway out of that is that this is a blood issue, the idea of relaxing biosecurity protocols in Australia. It's not on the table. It will never be on the table. And it is now, this is a nation with which they enjoy a trade surplus with us historically. There is no tariff being put on any of this sort of stuff. The only thing that's been retaliated for are things like biosecurity protocols. So there is no negotiation to be had.
And the GST.
Wow.
That's just intellectually embarrassing that they went down that path.
The whole exercise was intellectually embarrassing.
Like the idea that the GST specifically affects American goods, it affects every single good and service in Australia.
Well, listen, they released a chart detailing the tariffs supposedly imposed on American imports to countries that was derived with a formula that at no point considers what tariffs are being applied to American imports. It is utterly ludicrous.
The thing is, though, as a tactic, there are signs that parts of it are working, because Vietnam's now going, oh, no, we're busted. They've come back and said, oh, how does zero sound?
Well, no, hang on. Is that what the aim was? Was the aim to get a free trade agreement with countries like Vietnam? I thought it was to rehouse manufacturing from Vietnam back in the United States. Because if all Vietnam has to do is say we don't do tariffs anymore, well, then this was never about moving warehouses from Vietnam to America. There's no incentive to do that.
The Nike shoe factory is not coming back
from moving then
from Bangladesh,
if that's all that required. So either the tariffs are in place permanently to try and rehouse American manufacturing back in North America, or this was about free trade, in which case, I don't know, maybe sign the Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement back in 2017 that Japan, Australia, Canada, Mexico, Vietnam, all these apparently belligerent protectionist societies, Australia, we're all going to sign up to it. Donald Trump said no to it. So it's either about rehousing manufacturing or it's about reducing tariffs. It can't be about both those things at the same time.
Yeah, good point.
Let's check traffic. Eddie Maguire is coming up in a moment. We're going to talk footy and we're giving away tickets to Gather Round. When you cover things, they last longer. The same goes for you. Be sun smart. Check UV levels daily.
Thanks, Will. Crash and Crafers West to look out for this morning. It's on the freeway down track near the tunnels. Heavy delays inbound. Cuddler got a car fire there causing really big delays inbound at the moment. Main North Road near Dalkeith Road. And look out for works at Glenelg East, which is slow. Brighton Road near Dunbar Terrace. Quite busy. Main North Road at Enfield with a camera main South Road Aldinga. And another one to Prospect Road at Prospect. From 23888, the MG ZSD Vibe blends style and safety. Drive away today in this sporty compact SUV, backed by an industry-leading 10-year warranty. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The 5AA Sports Show. Rowie and Timmy G.
Port Adelaide, first quarter, destroyed probably any chance of winning. What they did do after that was the bit that probably gave some encouragement. They worked their way back into it.
You're being very kind to them. They were ordinary. I reckon you've lost your identity or your trademark or your DNA.
The 5AA Sports Show.
You look lost as a team.
It's work in progress.
Weekdays from 4 p.m. on 5AA. Always Adelaide.
Signs you may have big D envy. You've been invited to a mate's house to watch the footy, but you decline. Another mate's having a birthday bash. You make up an excuse not to attend. And finally, you feel like your partner is comparing what you have to what your mates have. Avoid Big D envy. Get in touch with Big Difference Home Improvements. From outdoor blinds to stunning verandas, pergolas, timber decking and carports. Big Difference Home Improvements will change your life. BigDifference.com.au.
You're already paying for electricity, so here's a thought. Why not own it instead? With NRG Solar's finance options, your monthly repayments can be the same as your power bill. And here's the best part, you get to own something. Instead of paying your energy provider, you're in fact investing in your own energy future. Some terms and conditions apply. Switch now and start owning your power. Call NRG Solar on 1300 858 160. That's 1300 858 160.
Now, they say you shouldn't mix business with pleasure, but they clearly haven't been to the AFL Gather Round Business Lunch. This is the big event that brings together the AFL industry and the South Australian business community, offering the chance to celebrate footy while networking for your business.
This year's lineup of speakers includes AFL CEO Andrew Dillon, Premier Peter Malinauskas, and AFL talent media personalities Patrick Dangerfield, Rory Sloane, Kate McCarthy and Nathan Buckley.
It's a great package. So tickets include seated dining with a 2-course meal, a 3.5-hour drinks package. There's the exclusive list of guest speakers. There are networking opportunities galore, and you get an official 2025 Gather Round souvenir.
So don't miss the AFL Gather Round Business Lunch on Friday, April 11 at the Adelaide Convention Centre. Get your tickets now at afleventoffice.com.au.
Introducing the Caliente by Beechwood Homes, a multi-level masterpiece of design, innovation and style. Inspired by the effortless glamour of Palm Springs in California, it's bathed in natural light through clever architectural design. At its heart, a stunning 6-metre island bench anchors a kitchen that's as beautiful as it is functional. This extraordinary display home will be ready to experience soon in Craigburn Farm. Life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home.
Here at 5AA, we're all about supporting local. Give dinner a spin at Roulette's Tavern. Every Tuesday night, grab a schnitty for only $17. Roulette's Tavern, next to Pals, Kings Road, Parafield.
Right now, Suzuki in the City is clearing Suzuki Vitara demos starting from $24,888 with the biggest range of colours to choose from and the biggest savings. Only at Suzuki in the City. T's and C's apply.
Get your wheels from Suzuki in the City.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
Hyundai Prius is on now with great deals on new and demo models. Visit Hyundai.com.au.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
24 after 8, Gather Round brings the biggest names in the AFL industry to town. Eddie Maguire is in the 5AA Breakfast studio with us. Eddie, good morning to you. You were just telling us a bit of a story that we're going to start not with Gather Round, but it's too good a story not to miss for our audience to miss out on. Your car featured in The Castle, one of the most beloved movies in Australian film history.
So I believe I had a cameo role.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jane Kennedy and Rob Sitch are very close friends of mine. In fact, I used to work with them on the D Generation. That was when I first started on radio back in Melbourne, back in the days, as they say, about 1987, I reckon it was. Anyway, I get a phone call when the footy show had kicked off, and so Nine had given me a new car. I had the BMW convertible, the new black model and all this. Anyway, Jane rings up one day and says, "Can we borrow your car?" I said, "What do you want my car for?" She said, "Oh, we're just shooting a movie." I said, "Well, we had dinner last week. You didn't mention anything about a movie." No, we're just doing it. It's going to take 9 days. And, oh, yeah, no worries. Anyway, it became The Castle. So when Dennis Denuto, the lawyer, finally gets the vibe and wins the court case, and he gets his new car, and it pulls up, and it's mine.
It's your car.
And they shot it in Fitzroy, and it came back, and somebody had taken the stickers off, the BMW stickers off the wheels. So, it had the very
Did you get a mention in the credits?
No. I should have got car wrangle or something, David. So that's where it all started back in those days, and haven't they been fantastic? Working Dog still
yeah,
shows on Channel 10.
Well, I can remember I was at uni when the D-Gen started. And
the Late Show and all
the
that.
Late Show. And, you know, Graham and the Colonel and Sweet World. Like, it was just so funny.
Yeah. They were just great. So I was
you
lucky enough
wouldn't
to
get
work
away with a bit of it now.
No, I know. And so, well, you don't get away with anything. Imagine the footy show would be off here in about 10 seconds these days. But, we went for 25 years, but it lasts about 5 minutes now.
Yeah.
Well, we go on YouTube and be a sensation, one or the other these days. But no, it's a great. And with that, the tradition continues tonight because we're going to be doing the show from the Barossa Valley, which is a combination of sort of footy classified meets Gather Round meets the old footy show tradition.
Yeah.
And
geez, they must have twisted your arm to get you to go out and do the show in the Barossa Valley.
Oh, you reckon I've pushed that for 3 years, Will? So we actually are sitting in the vines. We're going to record a little bit early so that we get golden hour. So we're going to shoot at about, I think about 5:30, and so the players can get back. So they're all coming in. Isaac Rankin is going to sing again.
Doing it?
We are doing it. I'll tell you exactly where we're doing it, David, as I look for my phone and get it right for you. We are in, I'll tell you where we are. We're in the Barossa Valley Estate.
Oh, okay, beautiful.
So
lovely.
Just up from Sebetsville there, and we're going to go for dinner afterwards and do the whole thing. But I love it up there. It's just magnificent. I love McLaren Vale. The old Molly Duca wines up there with Sarah Marquis as a good friend. And so it's going to be a wonderful night. The Premier is going to be there, Collingwood. And no, the Premier... Sorry, I was able to slip that one in. Peter Malinauskas will be there, and we're going to get Jack Ginnivan on as well, who's a favourite of
he's very popular here
Ken
in town.
Hinckley. Yeah,
is he flying in?
I thought I might come out in an umpire's uniform just to make things happy as well. Geez, they're a bit stiff, weren't they, on the weekend?
Oh, don't get us started.
It wasn't a mark, though. It wasn't a mark.
It was a free, though, wasn't it?
It was a free, yeah. It was in the back.
We put it to our jury before 8 o'clock about the Coaches' Challenge or something similar about that in the AFL. Are you a fan of it?
No, I think what we have to do is just get the umpires in the right position. I think late in the game, because they're running up and down, it's become too much of an athletic feat. I think they're out of position and they're tired. And I would rather the ball come to the umpires. I'd rather they be positioned. I've actually petitioned this to the AFL for a number of years for this very reason, because late in the games, everyone's out in their feet. You know, Rankin doesn't hold a chest mark. The ball goes to ground. It's tight. It's on. It's desperation. The umpires have to be the coolest cats. Instead, they're running up and down like hairy goats. So I'd rather they be in position. And to be perfectly honest, this will make you fall off your chairs, but I'd rather actually have more umpires that can make decisions and less boundary umpires who can't and goal umpires who can't, and actually have trained guys in position. They can wear long pants. They can be 70 years of age if you need them to be, but people who can make the right decision at the right time. And let's go back to the old rules. If we actually focused on the fact that in the back is a rule that is in the absolute foundations of the game, that would have been a free kick, because you go, no, you pushed him in the back. Yeah, you're allowed to hit within 5 metres of the ball. Tick. You've got to hold a chest mark. Keep that one back in the game so that we don't have to argue, did he have control? No, hold a chest mark. If you can't hold a chest mark, you don't deserve it. Okay? But the next part was in the back, and Isaac Rankin should have got a free kick.
Hey, Ed, you've been a big champion of Gather Round. I know in the past we had sort of friendly Victoria VSA pot shots over all sorts of silly things, but You're still an advocate for being part of the calendar permanently?
I think it has been the single biggest fill-up for football in the last period of time. I think it is absolutely magnificent. I pushed for it beforehand when the lobbying was on because I was here in '88 for the Bicentennial Classic. I used to come over for the Grand Prix as well. And I just thought Adelaide, it just does these things really, really well. So when we came over and Peter Malinauskas, he manifested what he wanted, and then he made it happen. And he seems to do that a fair bit, which is pretty good without being political. He does a great job and all that. And then the AFL, there's no doubt the AFL were using Adelaide in the first instance as a bit of a stalking horse. I remember speaking to Peter Malinauskas and said, they'll take the skin off your hand grabbing the cheque, but you've got to, but make sure, you've got to do the other things, because once the ball's bounced, it could be anywhere, really. The game goes, the tight shots are in, and they might put a super up that you're in Adelaide, but that's about it. It's the accoutrements, if you like. Tonight's show, for example, you're getting a 2-hour ad for South Australia nationally around the Nine Network at 7:30. It's prime time. It's not like even the footy show is about 9:30. This is 7:30. So you're probably making your money back alone on that show that's not even on the broadcasters.
Yeah.
7, the front bar's coming over.
Well, the key is that we all get into it too. Sydney wouldn't get into it, Brisbane wouldn't get into it, Perth's too far.
You know what Sydney would do? The Telegraph would be... he'd have them wound up that there was 3 seats empty here and there. And, what's
aerial
this?
ping pong.
All that would come into it.
In Sydney,
And it's a bit like my old nightclub technique. No point spending all night talking to a girl trying to convince somebody that hates you to hate you less. Talk to somebody who likes you and, get her to like you more. And so why wouldn't you come to South Australia? A great footballing state, and well, it's paid off in spades.
Gather round, the Eddie Maguire nightclub technique. I like it.
Exactly.
That's terrific. Great to have you in, Ed.
Long time between drinks, I can tell you.
You would have been good back at McMahon's at the Tonsley. That's my go-to analogy.
We used to go here. What was that other joint up in the corner there with the piano? Well, that's my son ringing from America.
Yeah. Someone's ringing to tell you to stop talking about your nightclub adventures.
There were a couple of big nights here with Tony Modra, I remember back in the day,
You don't have a quiet night with Modra.
Joplin's out here as well. Heaven was the other one, yeah. Oh, they were big time. We used to come back.
Regimes
was massive. That was in the Bicentennial Clinic. I'll tell you a funny story. Ross Oakley and all the AFL crew came in, and we were going out to a nightclub, and they had their AFL jackets on, and they turned them inside out so they looked like the silk on the silk jackets, so they could get in under the cover of darkness with big E.J. Whitman curls. Imagine, not quite so incognito.
No, not exactly.
And E.J., and Dermot Brereton and myself bringing up the rear. It was unbelievable.
Good on you, Ed. Enjoy the Barossa tonight.
See you guys, 7:30 on Channel 9 for the Gather Round Spectacular.
This is 5AA News. Always Adelaide.
Partly cloudy today, 23 with the 8:30 news. I'm Matthew Pantelis.
Physio Extra offers Locomat and Armio robotic technology services at their Marion and Eastwood clinics. PhysioExtra.com.
A serious crash between a car and a truck causing delays on the air highway. It's occurred just after 6 this morning, around 75 kilometres inside from the WA border. There's no word on injuries. Major crash investigators are on their way. The final touch has been put in place ahead of Gather Round this weekend. Free public transport for buses, trains and trams for all ticket holders across the 4 days. And blue Barossa bounce buses will operate across the Barossa towns. Andrew Kay from the SA Business Chamber says the event is slowly changing perceptions of business leaders interstate about Adelaide.
And I can't tell you how many anecdotal conversations I've had with business people at this event over the past 2 years who perhaps hadn't spent any significant time in South Australia previously, or their partners hadn't. They've come over for the game and now they're talking about, you know what, sick of the rat race in Sydney or not too sure about the Melbourne economy. Adelaide and South Australia may not be a bad choice.
The Adelaide Airport expecting a record 200,000 people to walk through this week with more than 1,100 flights in and out. Anna Moeller from the Hotels Association says hotel room bookings are up on last year.
We're seeing the Tuesday and Wednesday night, before those 3 bumper nights, are also significantly increased on last year, and also the Sunday night. People are coming earlier and they're staying longer.
There's help for SA farmers on the way, with the state government unveiling a $55 million aid package. The funding to provide vehicle registration and emergency service levy relief. There's also money to tackle pest animals, to pay charities for fuel that are bringing fodder into the state, and mental health funding as well. Brad Perry from Grain Producers SA telling Breaking at 8 the rebates on vehicle reg and the ESL are very welcome.
I think that's a start. We also asked for council rate rebate incentives as well, but I think it's certainly welcome that they've listened.
Donald Trump says the United States will have nothing to do with countries which refuse to give the US a fair deal. Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, the first leader to meet face-to-face with the president since a wave of sweeping tariffs was announced. President Trump says many countries are lined up to negotiate.
We're going to get fair deals and good deals with every country, and if we don't, we're going to have nothing to do with them. They're not going to be allowed to participate in the United States.
The Prime Minister vowing to splash the cash despite chaos in the global markets. Anthony Albanese announcing a $1 billion mental health boost to Medicare, directing funds towards expanding headspace clinics. Health Minister Mark Butler telling Today it's designed to target a younger generation who are increasingly more exposed to mental health challenges.
If it's not caught early, if people aren't getting the sort of free support in their community that this investment will deliver, people don't sort of magically get better. They often get more unwell and end up having to be cared for in a more expensive part of the system.
Both major parties formally launching their election campaigns on Sunday, unveiling big policy initiatives and sharpening their messages. Labor to make a formal pitch to voters in Perth, the coalition keeping the location of its launch a secret for now. Flood warnings in force for the far northeast of the state, with water from flooding rains in New South Wales and Queensland making its way to Lake Eyre. The Strzelecki track closed, properties around Inaminka and the town itself cut off. From the Inaminka Hotel, new owners Trav and Laura say the floods could see them isolated for as long as 3 months. Trav says the waters, though, have brought the desert to life.
Yeah. No, there's heaps of birds up here. The pelicans are up here. We went for a bit of a drive a few days ago, and all the wildflowers are coming out already. Yeah, no, it's actually a spectacle to see. Most people probably never see it in their life, but it's definitely a spectacle, that's for sure.
Wow. A research startup in the US claims to have brought back a species of wolf extinct for more than 10,000 years. Scientists editing the DNA of a grey wolf to produce a close approximation of the dire wolf. The species once lived alongside woolly mammoths and is now closely associated with the Games of Thrones series. Turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, style and safety to your home. Gliderol.com.au.
You can feel the excitement of Gather Round, Tom Wren.
Oh, it's sensational, isn't it, Matty? We're less than 48 hours away from it all kicking off, or just over 48 hours. I can't remember which. Either way, it starts on Thursday night between Adelaide and Geelong, and much has been made of that non-free kick call or mark for Isaac Rankin, which cost the Crows a chance to win the game against Gold Coast. Now, it's had some calling for a captain's or coach's challenge. Former Collingwood president Eddie Maguire telling David and Will there's another solution.
But I'd rather actually have more umpires that can make decisions and less boundary umpires who can't and goal umpires who can't, and actually have trained guys in position. They can wear long pants. They can be 70 years of age if you need them to be, but people who can make the right decision at the right time.
Maguire is in town for a footy show that will air tonight at 7:30. Meantime, Essendon great Matthew Lloyd says Carlton coaches would be frustrated with the situation of Harry Mackay with the forward playing in the VFL on the weekend.
We ever seen it before where a player can play VFL but he doesn't feel capable of playing AFL football?
I can't remember it.
So that's where it's a really difficult one, and I can only imagine how they're feeling, being very respectful internally, but it would be frustrating.
Audio there thanks to Footy Classified. Meantime, Richmond's Noah Bolt is in line to be named for the side's clash against Fremantle on Sunday. The defender is waiting to be sentenced after pleading guilty to assaulting a man in December. Briefly, elsewhere, the Matildas have beaten South Korea 2-0 in a friendly in Newcastle in front of more than 28,000 fans. In the English Premier League, Newcastle has beaten Leicester 3-0 to move up to 5th on the table. And in some cricket to finish, Josh Hazlewood's Royal Challengers Bengaluru have beaten the Mumbai Indians by 7 wickets. That was in their IPL clash overnight. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Thanks, Rennie. 5AA traffic now.
Selling your commercial property for top dollar is made easier with the team at RWC Adelaide. Visit rwcadelaide.com.
So we've got some really heavy delays at the moment with the crash at Crowthers West. She's on the freeway down track near the tunnels, delays inbound. Cuddler, car fire, Main North Road up to Dow Keith Road, big delays there too. And look out for works at the Norg East, which is starting to build at the moment. Brighton Road near Dunbar Terrace. Slow going Main North Road Enfield with the Camera Commercial Road at Seaford. The Liberals have announced they will reduce petrol tax by 25 cents a litre, saving $14 a tank. That's real cost of living relief under the Liberal plan. Authorised by A. Hurst Liberal, Canberra. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA's forecast.
For your next conference, charity gala or any type of function, make it a superstar experience at Adelaide Entertainment Centre.
Partly cloudy, 23 today, cloudy tomorrow, 25. The sun back for gather round, 31 Thursday, 29 on Friday. Right now it is 16. 5AA, always Adelaide.
Kathy doesn't have time to wait around for deliveries. That's why we've updated the AusPost app to include 2-hour estimated delivery notifications, so Kathy doesn't have to. Come on. You ask, we deliver at Australia Post. Available when matched to a MyPost account.
Adelaide's local, trusted and truly connected talkback radio station. 5AA, always Adelaide.
Wherever you are, and whatever you need, the caring collective of women at White Lady Funerals can help you create a meaningful and beautiful send-off. White Lady Funerals. Let our strength help you find yours.
Get saving now with City Discount Tyres. We're offering great deals on the world's top brands in tyres, wheels, suspension and parts. Suitable for four-wheel drives, SUVs and passenger cars, including Falcon, Michelin, Pirelli, Kumho, Hankook and many more. Finance options available. Search citydiscounttyres.com.au and locate your nearest dealer today. City Discount Tyres. We're driven by value.
It all started in the back shed. Maybe it started early or late. Either way, the Olympic Industries sale means there's no need to wait. With big savings on our entire range of SA-engineered sheds, garages, carports and verandas, you can afford to start something big, tough or tasty in your own backyard. Start something with the Olympic Industries sale. On now.
Everything under the sun cops are beating from UV rays, so cover things up. They last longer. The same goes for you.
That's right. 2 in 3 Australians will be diagnosed with skin cancer, and melanoma actually kills twice as many men as women.
It starts with checking the UV daily, remembering to slip, slop, slap, seek and slide every day, but there's plenty more sun smarts where that came from.
Did you know sunscreen takes 20 minutes to fully activate, but only works for up to 2 hours? Caps offer far less protection than broad-brimmed hats, and when the UV is 3 and above, it can cause permanent damage to your skin. So don't be a statistic, be sun smart, cover up and protect your skin.
And as always, check out the 5AA YouTube and Facebook live streams to see today's maximum UV.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube. Hyundai Prius is on now with great deals on new and demo models. Visit Hyundai.com.au.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
19 minutes to 9. If you jump on the Facebook and YouTube live stream right now, you'll note we've been joined in the studio by our regular guest, the Treasurer of South Australia, Stephen Mulligan. Treasurer, it's a hell of a time to be a treasurer of an economy just about anywhere in the world. Good morning to you.
Oh, good morning. Yeah, there's not much on at the moment, is there?
What was it like in your office the other, what was it? It was a Thursday. It was last Thursday.
Yeah,
last
2nd,
Thursday. Yeah. What? Take us
April
into
3rd, our time.
You're all watching it live, I presume.
Yeah, and I mean, just
were you home or were you at work yet? Or?
No, working. Just a bit of stunned disbelief, really, that that last 30 or 40 years of global economic sort of orthodoxy has just been turned over in one fell swoop, and now we're seeing the repercussions of that. We've got, I think the ASX 200 is down something like 13 or 14% from its February high, and we've got predictions that's going to continue. But also there's no real clear view or consensus nationally or globally about what the game plan is, how this is going to play out. And here in South Australia, we've spoken on this program before about, the impacts of drought and what that means for the state economy. I think the last thing Australia, or indeed any other developed nation, needs is a massive hit to economic growth. And just as societies have tried to take stock of coming out of COVID to be hit sideways again by another economic and financial shock, but that's what it feels like is unfolding before us.
The federal budget statement that comes out during the campaign, the independent analysis sort of suggested that largely Australia will survive the market shocks. What are the risks do you see specifically for South Australia, or do you think that there's a bit about uncomfortable for people with their super and so forth, but by and large will be okay?
Yeah, I think what we're concerned about is our industries, which are either directly or indirectly trade exposed. So it might not be necessarily the businesses that have got trading relationships with the United States in particular, but it might be those businesses which do have export relationships in our region, and if there's a significant downturn in demand for their goods or services, then it's going to be very difficult for them to maintain their output. And the last thing we want to see is them going through a huge struggle, not be able to maintain their workforce, not be able to maintain their output. And for governments, I mean, we're all trying to recover after COVID, get our budgets back into surplus, get our balance sheets under control. If there's a big hit to economic output and there's a hit to government revenues, it just ties our hands even more tightly for how we can step in and support the community.
Will's more across this stuff than me, but my reading of it as someone who's not that well versed with economics is that the hits that we have seen so far have basically been like a repeat of the COVID hits, have they not? Like the stock market falls, it's been like biggest fall since 2020.
Completely.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think the next week or two, particularly for the Australian share market, is going to be interesting because some of the commentary last night, for example, and in the papers today there's been a bit of market correction. The Australian share market was running pretty hot for the first part of this year. So there's been a bit of price correction, but it's just how much that continues, and in particular how much of a lead our share market takes from what's going on in other stock markets around the world. But the overriding message I think that economists and financial advisors and governments are putting out to people who are worried about their shareholdings or their superannuation funds is, don't panic. These are long-term investments. We've seen fluctuations before, whether it's been COVID or the GFC, and history shows over the last century that the markets do bounce back. So, the last thing we want is people to feel like they've got to make a rushed or a panicked decision about their financial livelihoods in this environment.
So much of South Australia's medium and longer term economic future is tied up with AUKUS. Do you guys worry, given how much you have invested in AUKUS, that there's a sort of softening, potentially even a hostility towards the Australia-US so-called friendship, when we've seen what friendship's really worth now in the eyes of the current administration? Do you fear for the future of AUKUS?
Oh, no, no, I don't. I mean, I think this is not just something that's important for Australia's defence interests and our capacity to have a strong defence posture in our region, but it's also similarly really important for the United States as well. But I do agree that when the AUKUS agreement was announced back in 2021, I think it was, I think after the way we'd been treated by China coming out of COVID, I think governments were pushing against an open door with the Australian community to say, do you know what, we're not going to get treated like this again by a major trading partner. We're going to align our defence interests more closely with our traditional allies, the UK, the US, and this is what our submarines are going to look like. This is what our defence forces are going to look like as a result. I think most people in the Australian community really strongly welcomed that. And I think there is a little bit of immediate sort of stunned disbelief that while we travel down the path of actually rolling AUKUS out, that we would start being treated like this by the United States. I don't think it's recoverable. I think even Trump himself is saying these tariffs are part of a negotiation tactic. I'd like to think that he's been far gentler on Australia than he has with other nations in recognition of the fact that the relationship that Australia and the United States has is special and is separate from most of the other relationships that they've got with other countries.
Is there a potential that the greatest risk to AUKUS might not actually come from the United States? It might come from the UK. They've commissioned an inquiry now, to quote that, to look at the AUKUS partnership under the impact of geopolitical shifts. Now, they're a part of this. They feel aggrieved about their relationship with the United States. Do you have any concerns about what the UK might do to that agreement?
Yeah, well, we're all, I guess the gentlest interpretation of that is we are all relying on each other to be able to support our defence forces, broaden out the supply chains. So, for example, Australian manufacturers can produce goods and equipment and services that both the UK and the United States need, as well as the UK and the United States supporting our defence forces. Yeah, we're meant to be far more fully integrated as defence industries to support each other. So when tariffs get thrown into the middle of that, it makes you think, well, how's that going to work? I mean, here in South Australia, for example, we are the defence state. We've got a really strong defence industry. We export hundreds of millions of dollars worth of defence products and material, particularly to the US, but elsewhere around the world. I mean, how is that going to function if a 10% tariff remains in place? We're still trying to understand that. So I think in that context, it's understandable that the UK is trying to work out what this will actually mean practically for their defence industry, but also for their defence force if they're banking on stuff coming from the United States and or Australia for them to be able to deliver the platforms and the systems that they need.
Paul Keating was typically ferocious with his assessment of Trump's conduct last Thursday and what it means for everyone else, but as we speak, our Premier was in India for a week, looking at drumming up more regional partnerships. Do you think that the upshot of some of this is that in a regional sense, in a trade sense, in a relationship sense, that Keating's view that we need to be much more confident of our place in Asia, is that actually potentially going to be one of the sort of outcomes of the new belligerence from Washington towards even an ally like Australia, where we actually start thinking, well, let's just start, trying to build better relationships in our own neck of the woods, and new opportunities might arise from that.
Yeah, I mean, certainly following how we were treated by China and, the huge trade imposts that were put on things like wine and grains and aquaculture, I think the strong lesson for the Australian economy and the South Australian economy is we've got to diversify our customers. We can't be solely reliant on China. And I think now that we're seeing this behaviour from the United States, it's reinforcing that fact that we've got to have good access to other markets other than those that we've traditionally relied on, just in case. And so I think those efforts, whether it's in India, whether it's in Indonesia, which of course is a very close neighbour to the north of us, or other markets in Europe, for example, these are the opportunities for our exporters to diversify their customer base.
Steve Mulligan, Treasurer, South Australia. We'll catch up again soon. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
If you want to get gather round tickets, get calling right now. 8223 is the number, because we've got a double 4-day pass to give away on the other side of this break. Jump in the queue. 8223 right now. Let's check traffic. When you cover things, they last longer. Same goes for UV SunSmart. Check UV levels daily.
Thanks, Bill. Crafers West, residual delays after that earlier crash on the freeway down track near the tunnels. Crash at Parkside to look out for, Fullerton Road near Campbell Road, and still got delays with that car fire at Cuddler, Main North Road after Dalkeith Road. Slow for works at Hallicove, Lonsdale Road near Perry Bar Road, speeds at 40 with the camera Commercial Road of Moana. Like your burgers with Bite, head to Oporto for an Prego and Bites box. A Prego burger with 3 grande chicken bites, dipping sauce, chips and drink. Grab yours at Oporto. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
When you buy Fluorio Milk Company milk, you're pretty much buying direct from the farmer. We bottle it and send it straight to the supermarket. We deliver it ourselves too. It means we can give SA dairy farmers the best possible price per litre. So when you buy Fluorio milk, you're supporting SA dairy farmers and their families. Plus, your money stays here in SA. And in these times, that's good for all of us. Look for the local in your supermarket. Fluorio Milk Company. We're for SA dairy farmers.
Imagine waking up in a home designed for luxury living, where every day brings the opportunity for a morning swim, state-of-the-art wellness amenities, and evenings spent with friends. Retirement isn't about slowing down, it's about living on your own terms. Living Choice has created luxury homes with premium resort-style amenities and a community of like-minded individuals who believe retirement is about living life to the fullest. Make your choice. Living Choice. Go to livingchoice.com.au.
BJ Energy Adelaide Solar and Battery Specialists will help you squeeze every bit of energy out of the sun.
BJ Energy don't have a room full of slick salespeople pressuring folks into quality solar package deals. In fact, their office is up on people's roofs all over Adelaide because they're out there doing it. They're installing premium quality solar panels.
That's right. It's this hands-on approach that separates BJ Energy from other solar and battery providers. Day in, day out, BJ Energy is finding and developing more efficient ways to install solar and maximise the benefits.
No two homes are the same, which means every BJ Energy system that they install is tailor-made just for that home. None of this mass-produced, one-size-fits-all rubbish.
You'll be doing yourself a massive disservice if you don't speak with BJ Energy before deciding on solar or a battery. For a free no-obligation quote, visit bjenergy.com.au. That's bjenergy.com.au.
We know you are concerned about SA's public hospital capacity and how long it can take to see a doctor. So are we. We need enough doctors to provide the safe, quality care you deserve. There are solutions for South Australia and it's not rocket science. Visit safermedicalstaffing.com.au and sign the petition to support our 3-point plan for enough doctors for South Australia. Authorised by Dr David Pope, South Australian Salaried Medical Officers Association, Adelaide.
Kia's most awarded SUV, the 7-seat Kia Sorento. Available in petrol, diesel, hybrid and plug-in hybrid powertrains. Fine-tuned for Australian roads and conditions for all 7 passengers. To find out more, visit kia.com.au or visit your nearest Kia dealer.
Kia, movement that inspires.
Hyundai Prius is on now with great deals on new and demo models. Visit Hyundai.com.au.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
5 to 9, it's better to be a member with RAA Rewards. Download the RAA app and start saving today. Fuel Watch, the cheapest spots, unleaded $1.67 at the Mobile Prospect Road, Blair Athol. $1.79 the United on Grange Road at Flinders Park. The cheapest diesel, how about this? Diesel, much cheaper, $1.59. The Mobile North East Road, Hampstead Gardens, and $1.63 on Henley Beach Road at Torrensville. The price of oil is coming down in a serious way at the moment because of the expectation that, well, there'll be less needed of it if there's a global economic downturn. But let's not dwell on that.
What's the origin of the word crikey?
I don't know.
What's the etymology of it?
We'll find out. We'll get an answer for that tomorrow morning.
Okay.
In the meantime, there might be another exclamation that someone uses when they win tickets to Gather Round, because we've got a double 4-day pass to give away here and now. And the first caller through was from Claire. Hang on a second. I don't know if it was Lucy. She put her hands up and she said she hasn't finagled this for the good people of Claire. That's all right. We love Claire. Let's head there now. Tom, good morning.
Good morning.
Tom, footy, food or fun? Which category would you like a question from?
I will try footy.
All right, footy. Now, this is interesting.
Good luck, Tom.
There are several AFL teams who are not going to be playing on Adelaide Oval for the 3rd consecutive Gather Round.
Mm-hmm.
Can you name one of them?
Brisbane.
Brisbane Lions is absolutely correct. Brisbane Lions.
Yeah.
You're off to Gather Round, Tom.
Fantastic.
So you're going to be going to Adelaide Oval, even though Lachie Neale and the Lions won't, which they say, and I think fairly, is a bit weird considering they are the reigning premiers. But, Tom, congratulations to you, mate. Which game are you most looking forward to seeing?
Thursday night. Go the Crows.
You'll be there, and you can go to the rest.
You go to all of them, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
Sensational. Did you get along last time, Tom?
No, I haven't been yet.
Oh, really? And did you have tickets lined up for this weekend?
No, hadn't even tried.
Beautiful.
Fantastic.
Happy days.
Good on you, Tom. I tell you what, we had crackerjack contestants this morning. Both got, without hesitation, the answer right to the questions. We have got 2 more chances tomorrow morning on 5AA Breakfast to win Gather Round tickets. So stay listening. 2 more chances to win a 4-day double pass. That's tomorrow.
So crikey is it's a British and Australian interjection used to express surprise or dismay, and with apologies to our Christian listeners, apparently it is a euphemism for Christ.
Why?
I didn't know you were blaspheming when you said crikey. Well, it's probably evolved so much that if you're not thinking
it's so far
about
removed
our
now.
Lord and Saviour, you're not really blaspheming. You're just using a figure of
as
speech.
Lucy just correctly pointed out, Steve Irwin. Blasphemer.
Well, right. Jeez Louise.
We're out of time. Graham Goodings is coming up. More tickets tomorrow. More tickets tomorrow morning from 6 o'clock.